Houston, Tranquility Base, the Eagle has landed.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Alien Addict on this fine, it's a luxurious evening, as always. No, don't do that. I always have this computer on full volume. But anyway, without further ado, it's never a good intro. It's never a good intro, guys. But you get what you get given. You get what you get, you know. You should know what to expect by now. I'll tell you something that you didn't expect to see. Lee at the bottom of the ocean.
How you doing?
Where's the anglerfish, Lee?
It's up my bum.
On the second shelf. Cheers, mate.
How you doing?
I'm good, mate. And we've got none other than Murray. I don't know what that. I've had too many shandies. Manny from from Area 503. How are you doing, mate?
Good, man. It's good to be here again. See you guys. You know, I wanted to tell you both. You were on the 180-day report savior team. Like, that day was a bust until the stream that you guys did and Goofon did. Man, I gave you guys a little.
He gave us a little something, but he's gone. Manny's had a little bit of problem. Yeah, he gives us a little tickle. He's had a little bit of a problem with his connection tonight. Oh, there you are. He's back again. He's back. What's going on? It's the powers that be, Manny. They're trying to stop us. And we do have a third guest that is going to join us very shortly, and that is Thomas from it was Mars, Moon, and Space TV, but it's not anymore. I can't remember the name of it, what his channel's called now, but it's he did the original interview with me about the Baltic Sea anomaly. So he spends a lot of time with them guys out doing the investigation on whatever that is down there. But welcome to the show, people. It is hot in the UK, Lee. Is it not, or is it hot, or is it not?
It's horrible. I'm I'm not ginger, but I'm definitely ginger adjacent, and it's too hot for me. There's far
We
too
can
much,
have it,
like,
you sexy man. Thank you very much. It's far too hot, isn't it, Lee?
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's almost as hot as Wreaking Havoc super chat there. That's hot. That'll give me a few shandies. Thank you, Lee. Love it, and I love Lee. Lee. Jesus Christ, what is in this? Wreaking Havoc. I'm liking the profile picture. Yeah, it's absolutely destroyed my brain, mate. Absolutely destroyed me. How is everybody on this fine, luxurious? Manny, is it hot where you are? Is it just like normal? Is it hot all the time in America? Well, no, America's different weathers, isn't it? All over. It's very quiet in the States right now. He seems to have some technical issues. Manny, just drop out and come back in, mate. Usually fixes the problem. There you go. Now we can see the UFO as well. Thank you.
Yeah, right above my head.
It is, mate. That's exactly where it should be.
So, USOs. I used to be dead interested in USOs, and they kind of disappeared, didn't they? Until
they went in the water.
Yeah, well, no, but it was a big thing, wasn't it? In like the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, there was loads of History Channel sort of documentaries and stuff about them and stuff, and then it fell out of fashion. And it feels like it's coming back into fashion now, you know, with all trans-medium crafts and stuff like that.
That's the word, trans-medium craft. I love it. Love it. It's it almost like it got invented by Corbell, but I know it didn't. Transmedium, but that's the first time I kind of heard that expression used when it came to these unidentified objects that that go into this seep into the sea.
Well, there's definitely at some point. I mean, this is a term that's only come out from the Corbell team, isn't it? So at some point, someone's said that, and someone's thought, "I like that." It was probably around about the same time somebody said, "Weaponize your curiosity" as well, and that one got written down.
But it's nothing new, Lee. Like you said, this has been, we've been talking about this for years, and I know I sound like a broken record, but the whole reason why I'm probably here today, well, actually, is the reason why I'm here today, because I came out of his willy. My father told me about, well, half of me came out of his willy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just, yeah. He told me about, I'm laughing at my own jokes. That's really bad. I hope my dad's not watching this. But he told me about his time at sea, when he had to report a UFO, and I will get him on with his testimony about his actual report in the Merchant Navy when they were on the ship. It didn't go in the water, but it went over water. It went from one end of the horizon to the other in seconds. And that's kind of what got me into it. But this whole UFOs at sea, if they can survive space, they can certainly survive the ocean. And what better place to hide than the ocean? And Manny is back, and I'm hoping he's back with volume, with audio. We got audio, Manny?
Now?
Hear me now. Hear me now.
Yeah, all right. Sorry about that, guys. I had to reboot the old beast and smack her around a little bit, you know, do a little power cycle.
I think it's when you pop the links up. Pop the links up when you need them. Don't pop the links up early, because I think when you're popping them links at the bottom, for some reason it shouldn't. Not that it shouldn't do that, because it's not much power. But
yeah, I'm not sharing that big of files either. They're kind of small. They're only like 40 megabytes, the little video files, so it shouldn't be that big. But you know, whatever. I guess I won't share them until later if we need to. Yeah, but it seems to be working now. Sorry about that. I did, like I said earlier, though, before I got cut off, I was trying to tell you guys, thank you for saving the day on the 180-day report. You know, that was a cool save.
It's something about our report, like, it's whatever we did that day, they don't want money to speak about it. It went again there, mate.
It's like the God doesn't want anyone to pay us a compliment, because I think he's going to say something nice.
I think he is. Is your audio gone again, mate? Manny, reboot the system, you know? Reboot it. Can you
hear me now?
We can hear you, but
okay.
We can definitely hear you.
Does it sound better or worse?
No, it sounds great. And you're fine now. Whatever you did is working. Delicious.
I got rid of my virtual mixer, my digital audio mixer. Yeah, that's what was doing it. It was crapping it all out. So I guess I don't need it here. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that, guys.
You was just blowing some smoke up my bottom, which I like.
I was trying to butter you guys' bread, man, but nobody wants me to do it. Like, I think the internet's against us, you know? Yeah, like that 100. I'm going to try it one more time. And if it doesn't work, I'll just write you guys an email. Okay. But
I think we're going to need that email.
The thing is, when you're on this stream and you're live, nobody else knows that you've. When you've frozen, you have no idea that you've frozen. You're like,
I know.
So I think on your end you can usually see it. It's like, oh, he's back again. Is he back? I think he got inspiration there, Lee. Oh no, I thought it was under the ocean, just like you. But yeah, this. There he is. Is he back in the game?
There's no noise though.
Manny, reboot, give it a rub, give it a tickle, then come back on.
How's that?
Oh no, he's back. He's back.
Go.
Yeah, there you go. In the house. To stay.
I think it's going to kick me off. That's what it does.
This is what happens when you try and do a live stream where you're downloading terabytes of pornography.
I know it's an odd one.
Can't you pause those downloads till we're done?
No, I can't. I need them when the show finishes. So, unfortunately, it needs must. So the UFOs that go into the sea, we call them USOs, unidentified. Is it submerged objects?
Yes.
Yes.
But not sunken.
But they are I think some people get confused with it though, and they think they're just aliens that have kind of boats or submarines, when it is just one craft. And this craft happens to be able to go in the water, go wherever it wants. But I do believe if they are here and they've been here for a while, what better place to hide? I mean, they say we know more about space than we do our own oceans. So what better place to hide?
Under the ocean? That's a good place. Yeah, you got caves that you could hide in. I mean, but under the ocean's a great place, especially up until, probably 100 years ago when we really started advancing radar and things like that and getting things moving along, the last 80 years as far as that goes. If you go to Google Earth now, you can take a look at the topography of the bottom of the ocean, and all of that data comes from some sort of radar or satellites or things like that they've put together. And you can kind of see what's down there. If there's any kind of structures down there, you'd probably see them. But as anyone who's gone swimming in a lake or anything knows, on the bottom of the lake and an ocean is just this layer of soft dirt and mud and grime and crap. There could be anything underneath there. There could be a whole city underneath there. There could be something, a ship, especially if it wasn't that big, maybe a mile long or something. How do we even see it? If it was buried under layers of sediment and stuff. But so it seems like a good place to hide, especially if you don't need to come up very often.
Well, when we get Thomas on, who has been doing, he's done a documentary with the team that are investigating the Baltic Sea anomaly, and he should be on very soon, people. So hang fire. We will get more into that, like what some of these things could be, that there is evidence of, that we can actually see that people are actually doing research on certain things that are underneath the sea. But as far as we know, when it comes to, I mean, we've spoke about this for quite some time. And I think, if I'm right by saying this, Lee, when we did a show over a month ago, and it dropped, just like Manny did just then, it dropped Corbell's footage of the
took off, booking it.
Frank Omaha, pick me a kid, Rocco Peralta, passive ability to launch Hilo ASAP.
Splashing and bearing rain.
Sure. You got 2 wins, 30 knots.
Keep going, bro.
We're making 10, so we can probably bring that 35 relative.
Windy as fuck.
Sir.
Yeah, I'll bring it down.
We got a lot of white water out there, some 6-foot swells.
Whoa, it's getting close.
Yeah, we have 31 knots sustained wind, topside, gust of 40.
What? Splashed. Mark bearing and rain.
So Lee, you still in the same place with that you went out? You did change your tune, but when you first saw it, you were like, you thought that were ace.
I said, oh, do you know what? Just looking at it then, I mean, obviously, like you can't tell what it is, and I get why people like Rich were upset by it, or not upset, but frustrated, because you can't see it. But it's odd, isn't it? Do you know, when you look at that, it's a strange piece of footage.
It is strange. I totally agree. And when I first saw it, I was like, that's intriguing. I think we were all kind of intrigued by that. But the problem is with this, and if you are watching Jeremy, is it's the cuts that and it's the way it's being filmed, and it's the kind of the secrecy behind it. And I know that whoever releases this gives this to George Knapp, and then passes it on to Jeremy. Jeremy puts it out. I think George put that out first, and then Jeremy put it out literally minutes after. The problem with that is we don't know where to verify. We don't know where it's. All we see is that we've got some guys speaking that are on the ship, and we've got a phone that's filming a monitor, and that's why we don't trust it. But if you just had that piece of footage without it being filmed with no cut, would it be more compelling, or would it just be? Could it just be a flare going into the water?
I mean, the thing with I don't think it's a flare going into the water because it doesn't make sense for it to like fade in and out,
disappear, then reappear.
Yeah. There's a flare going into the water, surely it would just disappear. But it's the whole thing of it saying like, "Oh, splashdown," and then if it just disappeared like that, we could just dead easy go, "Oh yeah, well, it's obviously gone in the water." But it's the fact that it disappears, comes back, and then disappears again. That's what sort of put the doubts on it, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to touch on that on it too much because we have spoke about that. Oh, like pretty much probably every single stream we spoke about that and we've had something to say about it. But it's the only piece that I've seen other than a few. There's a few different ones that do go into the water. There's is it Bosnian one? I can't remember the name of it, but that's a really, really good one. I think it's the Bosnian one.
Is that the one Third Face showed us?
It's been about for ages, and it's where you can see this little orb thing, and it keeps popping in and out of the water, and it goes. And that's probably one of the best ones I've ever seen, and I think everybody's in agreement with that. I've spoke to Tyler about that. He thinks that's one of the best ones he's ever seen. Third Face thinks that's one of the best ones they've ever seen. I think Rich thinks that's one of the best things from Goof, and he thinks that's the best one he's ever seen. But are they hiding under the water? That's the question. Are they actually under there, or do they quickly hide under there, or have they got a base under there? And I know that sounds out there.
No, well, you know my feeling on aliens. I don't think aliens are aliens. I think aliens are like a progenitor race that have been here longer than we have, or maybe not even longer than we have. Maybe they've just been here and progressed differently. Maybe we were all part of the same species at one point, and like the species split at some point. Like the whole thing of like a breakaway civilization, something like that. When you look at like stories of Atlantis and stuff like that, I mean, I was
just about to say that.
I was fascinated by Atlantis when I was a kid, but even down to the like stories of like Inner Earth and the Admiral Byrd. Was it Admiral Byrd that was taken into the center of the Earth? Yeah, these things have been around for a while, and these stories have been out for a while. And that's the thing. Just because we're saying they're coming in out of the water, we're saying they're underneath the water, doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't some sort of credence to these like civilizations inside the Earth.
Not many people speak about Admiral Byrd and about his experience when he went to the Antarctic. It's kind of like almost like it was just hoo-ha, and people had just. He told this amazing story, and it never developed much traction, or even.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure he did the story. I think that's the issue, because I think Admiral Byrd's diaries were written by his nephew. Like the Admiral, like I can't remember what the book's called now, but the stories came from a book his nephew wrote, because he wrote like his memoirs posthumously after Admiral Byrd had died. I could be talking bollocks here. So if I am, and someone else out there knows what they're saying in the chat, absolutely correct me. But
I mean, I've seen a video with him, like, obviously it's very bad quality, but of him speaking about the Antarctic, and he does mention,
that was the, but that is, he didn't talk about going into the Earth and that.
No, he never kind of.
You're talking about the long,
deep.
Oh, what's it called? It's like the long something chronoscope was the TV program he was on. That was when he said that there's land like Greenland, not like Greenland, green, lush Greenland beyond the poles, and there was coal and uranium and all that sort of stuff.
That's the one.
Yeah. I half of me thinks that maybe people aren't talking about that is because or him anymore, is because he's kind of been like co-opted by the whole flat Earth thing, hasn't he? Flat Earth is using quite a lot to like bring into their mythology.
But the idea that the one thing that does intrigue me about flat earthers and what they do, one thing that excuse me, they speak about is that about the treaty in Antarctica, and that like you can't just get yourself out there to Antarctica. Thomas, my friend, welcome. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. How are you, Oliver?
I'm amazing, mate. I'm amazing. Thomas, from what's the new name of the channel, Thomas? I had it on my. You changed it.
TV.
Spacelink TV. Was Mars, Moon, and Space TV?
Yeah, it was Mars, Moon, Space TV, and we changed it to Spacelink TV. We thought we need some changes and some fresh air. So
I love the new name. Love it.
Yeah, it's a cool name. It's a really nice name. Yeah, thank you.
It takes a while for the subscribers to get used to the change, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there has been a few asking, where's Mars, Moon, Space TV? And, well, we can direct them to us now. It's Spacelink TV. Former Mars, Moon,
well,
Space
I've put the link in the description for you, Thomas, so people can go click on Must See Audio, click on Area 503, and click on Spacelink TV. Thomas here. And Thomas, I only just thought about you today with this, and I thought, why have I not asked Thomas? When you have done so much work with the people who are investigating the Baltic Sea anomaly.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
We did an interview and we briefly spoke about that, but we spoke about other stuff. But I want to keep this strictly based on what is underneath our oceans. But yeah, you've done a lot of work with these guys talking about the Baltic Sea anomaly. But before we get into that, I will introduce you to the guys. This is Lee from Musty Audio, Manny from Area 503.
Hey, Manny. Nice to meet you guys. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too. I'm having some technical difficulties, so if I drop off, then yeah, I'll be back. Sorry.
See you later. And as you can see, we're used to Zoom, so I had my green screen ready here, and
you can use the green screen, Thomas.
Yeah, this is new software to me. I was just looking around, but I'll figure that out to next time.
It's okay. You can be the algae. Lee's already at the bottom of he's at the bottom of the ocean. I'm just saying that, Thomas, if you've seen the stuff that Corbell's put out, Jeremy Corbell, with the UFO that they're filming from the ship that goes into the water. What are your thoughts on that? Because I've never asked you about it. Because we've had many debate on this. I actually did a live stream just after that footage had been put out. I'm interested to know what you think about that footage.
First of all, I need to find out exactly what footage it is, because I have two in my head. I have one that's supposedly from the Spanish coast with a UFO popping in, and you're watching it from I think it's a fishing boat, or a big fishing boat.
It is this one we're talking about.
This one. Okay. We've seen that one. Both me and Dolly has been looking through that, and that is very, very interesting because you see it disappear and reappear continuously, and they are actually managed to lock on to the target so they can follow it automatically. It's actually pretty amazing technology they're using to capture this. I think we are looking at the real deal here. What do you think, Oliver?
So you think what Corbell's put out there is legit, and he's got this from a source that we're being leaked something here. That's what you think?
I think Jeremy Corbell wouldn't put anything out he didn't believe in. I've met Jeremy personally and spoke to him. I don't believe he would work on a project like this if he didn't believe in it.
Okay, that's interesting because a few of the panel have had the doubts about Jeremy with this, and I'm very neutral when it comes to this. I've spoken to Jeremy a couple of times, but this footage for me, I think, is great footage. But the problem that I have with it is the cut. So there's a cut there that you've just seen, and
is that a cut?
It is a cut. Yeah, it's definitely a cut because And
are you sure he doesn't just zoom?
Well, they say the reasons why we can't see the... No, that's a cut. It's definitely a cut, Lee. I'd bet my bottle of lemonade on it.
Can we start it again?
Well, I can actually show you the cut. I've got an edit.
Yeah.
So if you wait for it.
I see.
Did you see that? I mean,
it's interesting how they tried to cover it as well.
Well, apparently it's because it's important. There's this sensitive information at the bottom. And I know what Thomas is saying there. When you've got a reputation to keep,
you don't put things out you don't believe in. And I know that Jeremy Corbell has done his research on this before he used it. I haven't heard what Lee or Manny have said about it, but I'm with Jeremy on this one. I believe in this one.
You do believe it?
Yeah.
Do you have anything more in regards to the Baltic Sea anomaly?
I know what you're trying to, Oliver. You're trying to get us to give you something that the public haven't got yet. I've got a picture, a new animation, but it's not really fantastic yet. There is things coming up, and there is things in progress, and there is just come a documentary out a few months ago about the Baltic Sea anomaly 10 years later. I'll suggest you all go and see it. It's a good one. We are still working on our part 2 on Baltic Sea anomaly alongside Black Knight satellite, which is going to be launched in a few months, September, October, November.
Hello, Dolly.
Hello.
Yeah, Dolly is here. Come in and say hi, Dolly.
Really?
Yeah, come on.
Hello.
Then I.
There she is.
Hello,
my love.
Hello there.
And cheers.
And cheers.
Cheers.
So you guys are you still working quite close with the team that are investigating?
Yes.
And have they not given up any of their? I know it was very expensive.
They're still working, and they've been out there again recently. Not long back. They've been out there. A few months ago. They've been out there again. And they got some funding and some backing as part of a documentary that they're doing. And there's interesting stuff coming out. I know that there's still questions to be answered about it. And
there is more coming. There is a plan, and
it's a structure.
But the plan there is that I've heard about, which doesn't involve us, but Ocean XT, is all dependent on funding, and it's the funding that is still giving a good hold on the whole project again. And I know if they had the funding, they would be out there right now. I've spoken to Dennis a few months ago and asked him if he wanted to participate again in part 2, and he said, yeah, he's very, very interested, and I have to get back to the team again and start planning some more with them.
But we have got some very up close and personal footage.
We have some personal photos. Yeah,
some personal footage, like a few hours of the rover under.
We got all
water.
The original ROV recordings still on a DVD.
And from what I've seen of it, well, we went through it one day, didn't we? And I had a good look at it. And what I saw looked to me like ancient structure underwater. Some of the angles and cuts are just like those that you see in some of the sacred ancient buildings that you see, the pyramids, how close they are together, and up at Machu Picchu and that. These rocks and boulders are so precisely carved together, and it almost looks like there's little steps in there.
Somewhere, yeah.
But to me, I think it's an ancient structure from what I've seen.
So it's not like because there's a few people that have said that, you know, they think it's, a lot of people have said, well, look at this thing, it even looks like a Millennium Falcon. Maybe George Lucas knew something.
It's not like that though when you're actually under there and look at it. This is something that is something else.
It's I went into it with the perspective that I believe there was a UFO, because the first information that came out in 2011 was very mixed, and nothing was really organized in what was being said and released. So, and then Peter Lindbergh made that. I don't know if it was a mistake. You can call it
captain?
That. Peter Lindbergh. No, that's not the captain. Peter Lindbergh is a co-founder of Ocean X Team together with Dennis Osberg, and Kai Farmer is the captain on the ship at that time. But what I was about to, I just lost it.
You've lost your thread.
I completely lost my thread. Yeah.
With what it is, somebody said that it possibly looked like the Millennium Falcon.
Peter Lindbergh said that it looked like the Millennium Falcon to, I think it was BBC News or CNN News, and they broadcasted it where he said the words, it looks like the Millennium Falcon.
And it just got picked up.
And then Dennis Osberg came out and said in another interview somewhere else, it looks like a sunken UFO, and they all hang up to that. They kept on hanging on to those few comments, and it was presented to the world as a UFO crash, which I don't think it is a UFO crash. What I know so far and what I've seen so far from those about 6, 7, 8 hours of ROV photos I have here at my home, there is a lot more to it. I'm thinking we are looking at a construction from an ancient time, because there are corners that you can't explain. There are places that are round in a way you can't explain. And I spent many years looking at all these things. I met the team. I've been in Stockholm 2 times now and talking to them and doing stuff with them. And there are so much info about the Baltic Sea anomaly to put together in a giant puzzle. There are so many different perspectives. There are the UFO perspective, there are the ancient construction perspective, and then there is the rock perspective. It's just a rock.
Some people think it's just volcanic.
Yeah, volcanic.
But we've. I mean, I've seen a little bit from your first documentary that you did with the footage that the guys had done, and it was hard to see. But you could see the shape of this thing, and it looks odd. It's not. If you looked at this thing across the seabed, I don't think you could get pareidolia from you know, like some people do. And working a lot with Mars images, you know that a lot of people put a lot of pareidolia out there. When you look at this, but when you actually see it down there, and when you look at what that team is spending to go out there every single time, I don't think the investigation on that. I mean, how much does it cost that dive?
I can tell you that the fuel alone on the ship that was rented for the first big dive, where they went with cameras, that the second time they come out, was $25,000, and that's only the fuel. Then you have the ship, and you probably, if you're going out there, you have 3 days of sailing to get there. So you have to.
And how many times have they gone out to investigate this?
Say that again, sorry.
How many times have they gone out to investigate this?
I think they've been out. I have 4 or 5 videos, and I think they've been out 4 times. And there has been another friend of them, the coordinates, been out there and doing some sonar images, blue view scans.
But the fuel alone's about 25,000.
Yeah, and the
that's
ship,
without the men and the food and the
then comes
equipment.
The ship. Probably.
So we're talking over 100 grand.
Probably
Easy.
put 100,000 in the ship as well. Yeah,
4 trips.
Yeah,
minimum. Minimum.
And no diver is going to go out for a week for free, and the diver is being paid food.
And they're not just going to go out for a day either. So,
because Lee's just been saying now, just before you guys came on, that being intrigued with Atlantis, and it's I know this is not the same area, but it's interesting. It's interesting that you're saying that this thing looks, from what the foot. Is this special footage that you're going to release on your platform that you have?
It's already there on our YouTube channel.
We have released all the ROV footages on YouTube. I think
it is there on our YouTube channel. If you go in there, you'll catch some ROV footage where we did go through it, and we showed some vent shafts that we thought we'd found in it, some pretty odd angles, the way it was structured. I thought that I've seen hieroglyphics or some kind of petroglyphic writing on it. There's something on there of carving, or
there is, a specific picture.
There is.
I wish I would have time today to find it all up.
It's my fault. I guys, everybody in the chat, I literally asked Thomas about 7 hours ago. I just literally, I thought about this today. I thought,
and he was like, Ollie, we were meant to be with Ollie. And I'm like, what?
We can have a 215. Thank you very much for the super chat. And yeah, that is right. If anybody needs to go check out my original interview with, check out the one with Dolly as well, but check out the interview with Thomas that I did where we were speaking about the Baltic Sea and Ollie. So what Lee was saying earlier, in fact, Lee, I've spoke too much now. You go ahead, fella. Manny, are you back in the house? Have we got our audio?
I think so, and I wanted to ask a question, but I was afraid to talk because that's when I get kicked off every time. So I just had to pause for a second. But
do you want to go? Do you want to go first? Just in case you, for some reason, you.
Yeah, let me ask Thomas real quick. You were talking about you have ROV, remote operated vehicle footage, and you also have dive footage. So you've done the 2 different expeditions down there to look at the Baltic Sea anomaly. And financially, isn't it easier to send a drone down than a team of divers, or is it not? I'm just kind of curious because you still have to send a boat out to operate it. Is that why you still have to have an operation boat and all of that?
It would be cheaper just to send a drone down, but you can't rely 100% on the drone. You need to have divers there because you also want to get some samples. And the drone have a little arm on it. It can grab things, but it can't produce samples or chip off parts of whatever material is down there. They want to do a test on, like they did in 2011. A drone, they already have a drone. They have a drone at the ROV. That's the video we have on our YouTube channel. And then there is Stefan Hogeborn, who is the professional diver. He's a diving instructor. He's actually one of the best in the world, but nobody, actually, it's a shame nobody tells that, but he is. And he have a lot of underwater photos from the Baltic Sea anomaly, and I think I got 90% of what he have recorded somewhere in my files on the computer, which also includes all the good stuff on the boat when they're just sitting and talking and having fun and being sailors waiting for the go, you know. So yeah, we got a lot of good stuff, but no, it wouldn't be good to just send a drone down, because you wouldn't be able to fulfill the mission as such. Because when you get out there, you don't want to spend $25,000 on fuel again if you miss anything. So you have your backup with you, and that backup, I would actually say that the ROV is the backup. It's the diver who comes with the interesting pictures. It's the divers that can go down there and literally zoom in on stuff they want. You can do that with the ROV too, but it stirs up all the silt on the bottom and creates a visibility less than a half a meter, so much of what you see from the ROV is very blurred, bad visibility. So yeah, you'll need divers to do the best job.
Okay, and what's the depth down there?
It's between 84 and 87 meters depth.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good, substantial amount of water to have on top of you. That's a good pressure.
It's so murky that it's visibility is really difficult.
You have a temperature at about between 3 and 5 degrees Celsius down there. And the thing about the divers is also important. This is where it becomes expensive, because to do a dive, go 84 meters below surface, when you go up, you need, all of you know that divers need to go up slowly, otherwise their blood will start boiling. It takes up to 1.5 hours to come from 84 meters depth to the surface.
So to ascend is 1.5 hours with the stops for the decompression of the
so
nitrogen.
Imagine the amount of oxygen bottles you would need to have. You can stay down there with the amount they had. They could stay down there between 15 and 23 minutes, 25 minutes at the absolute maximum before they had to go up.
Wow.
Situation going out of air on the way up. So you can't even go out there with one diver and send one diver down, because you need to have a second diver. You need to have a backup and security. And when that's said, those two only got 15 to 20 minutes down there. If you have an object that is 60 meters wide and you have never seen it before, it's dark, it's covered in silt, I'll bet you on 20 minutes you will see maybe 10 square meters of it. And that would be less than 2% of the whole surface of the area you would be able to study in 20 minutes. So you ain't just going out there to plump a diver in and go down and have a look, take a picture, up again. You're going down there with men that can do 6, 7, 8 dives in that time that are out there. And I'm not even sure they can dive continuously a whole day. They know more about it than I do, but I know what's going on and what it takes to do the dive, and how long preparations, how many preparations it takes. Sorry, I have to find the words sometimes.
So you have a rotation of divers that go down then? Is that what you're saying? Or they only go down?
If you want to do it, probably you would have to have a rotation. They didn't have a rotation. They had 3 divers and one stayed up and was actually controlling the ROV, and the 2 others went down to do the recordings they did back in 2000, and was it 13? I think it was, so yeah,
it's remarkably difficult to work under all that pressure and water. Like you said, you can only go down there for 30 minutes of work time at a time. You know,
maximum, not even 30 minutes. So it's very limited. And if you find something that is of interest, then your time is gone, and you have to go up, and you will have to have a new set of divers ready to come down and take over where you lived. And so going out for renting a boat for a week, because you'll need more than a week. If it takes 2 to 3 days to get out there and back again, and you will probably need 2 to 3 days out there as well, because if you have a day with rough weather and you can't do anything or dive, all you can do is just sit and wait. So you can't just plan to go out for a week. You have to rent a ship for 2 weeks basically, and let's see how quick we can do this, and maybe they end up doing it in 1 week, maybe they end up doing it in 2 weeks. It depends on the situation and the weather, how many divers they had, what results they want, what equipment they have to get those results, and so on and so on and so on. All takes time and it's expensive. So we did an estimation for what it would take as a minimum to make a short expedition, and that was $250,000. And that was just for a quick tour out. If you want to do a real expedition, we are talking about $1 million and up.
You got to fund everything to get everybody out there with food and transports, and you got to pay for all your scuba gear and your equipment and your dive masters and the
ship you rent. It's probably ain't in the harbor. It probably comes from Norway or Finland and have to go there first. And you know,
is it ridiculous to think about getting a mini sub to go out there and check it out? Is that, I mean, if you're talking $1 million, I mean, can you rent one of those for 2 weeks and spend some real good time out there where you're not hindered by that?
I'm pretty sure that if the team could get funding for $1 million, that they would be able to get a U-boat with a little submarine with them as well. I remember, I mean, I've been in the Ocean Explore group on Facebook, and we had quite a lot of discussions in there about how to do. A lot of people. It have 15,000 members in there. There was a lot of the time, and a lot of them are very creative with their thoughts. I have posted a lot of positive, creative thoughts of how to get a submarine down there or lower cameras, and there have been a million different suggestions on how to go out there the cheapest way and get the best results. I can only recommend to join the group and go look a few years back and go in and have a look what's going on. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it definitely. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. What are you going to say, Manny?
I was just saying, this is so interesting that it definitely warrants some further investigation than, you know, like really finding out what this is. Even if at the end we discover that it's something natural, like a rock formation or something, it's still worth investigating because it's so unusual, you know, like it's so cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
Do you remember this, Lee?
Yeah. I remember it well. Like when it first sort of popped up, I remember all the like Millennium Falcon things and stuff like that. But what I was thinking just then when you were talking, is there any other teams that have gone like to look at this? Because it feels prime when you look at the vast amounts of wealth that some people have got. It feels like the prime thing for someone like your man that bought Skinwalker Ranch or something to take on as a pet project. You know, if you're saying like it would cost sort of $1 million or something to have like a real investigation into it.
Yeah.
It's the kind of money that some people out there could just drop as a pet project.
Some people could, yeah. Some people could. I was about to say something.
You're about to tell us who's investing.
Put it this way, it's in a very odd area of the Baltic Sea. And because of where it is, everybody wants to take an interest.
Yeah.
So it's a bit odd.
You ask if there were other teams that were out there looking around there as well. And I do remember that one of the reasons Ocean X team didn't release the coordinates to it was because they already have invested in money in going out there to look again, and they didn't want to give it away. We were afraid somebody.
So nobody knows these coordinates. Nobody knows the exact coordinates
now. But at the time in 2011 and 2000 up to 2013, 14, the coordinates wasn't still released because there were other teams that wanted to go out there and kind of disprove it.
Treasure hunters.
I wouldn't call them treasure hunters, and I forgot the name of the team, but there was a team from Finland that would love to go out there. So we kept the coordinates secret, or tried to. They got revealed at the end anyway. But when the coordinates finally were given up, we gave them up on Facebook and posted them, and everybody could use them if they want. And nothing happened. And we still haven't heard of anybody who has actually been out there to do their own investigation after the coordinates were released. And that actually still to this day surprised me a little bit, that nobody has grabbed the chance and say, yeah, I want to solve this mystery. Here's one of the mysteries on Earth in life that everybody's talking about. I can solve it. Nobody have interest in it. Why?
I mean, well, you're talking about a new wonder of the world, aren't you? If it turned out to be a structure in the bottom of the sea.
If it turns out to be a structure in the bottom of the sea, it would definitely get some attention, because we had an ice age 13,000, 15,000 years ago, and whatever is out there is from before the ice age or created during the ice age. So, yeah, what can I say?
we seem to be quite good, don't we, at ignoring things that might be history breaking. It feels a bit like that.
Yeah, but I also think the media has a part of it as well, because as I said earlier, when it came out and CNN grabbed Peter Lindbergh saying this, what he said, and another channel grabbed Dennis Osberg saying what he said without they have talked really, like they haven't organized it, and the world looked onto that, and I think that's why people are afraid of touching it, because it's screaming UFO. Not that UFO not interested is some of the most interesting subjects in the world, absolute. But when you're talking an investment of about $500,000 to $1 million to maybe go out and find out, oh, it was a rock.
I'm sorry, but when you look at this, I mean,
yeah,
I was a wannabe Mars Moon Space TV channel. Yeah. You know this, Thomas. When I first started out, I did a lot.
In the documentary. You were a star.
I was when I was in that documentary of yours. Yeah. I asked to be in it. True stories, people. I said to Thomas, we got chatting about something, and then Thomas said, "Oh, yeah, well, I've got an interview, and I'd like your opinion on." I can't remember what you said it was, and I had no idea what it was. And for some reason, I thought I would be speaking about Mars. Yeah, and then it came to the interview, and then you went, "What's your opinion on the Baltic Sea anomaly?" And I knew slightly what it was at the time. And I went, "It's an alien. It's a crashed, probably a crashed flying saucer." And you can see that on your documentary, which is on what platform is that on now? Is it on? Is it still on?
It's on. It's on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. You can find it there. Yeah.
Yes. So
and
now, knowing what I know, I would definitely say what Dolly just when I look at this thing, I do think it's. I think it's definitely something that's under there.
Yeah, let's talk about.
I don't think that's pareidolia.
Let's talk about those 4 pictures you got up. You got the green one up there with your logos in.
That's the artist impression.
Right, yeah. That one is, as you all know, an animation. It's my good friend Hauke Wacht who has painted. That's an animation, but that animation is been painted from what the divers had described to him and described it as, and he have painted that, and they have come back and said, yeah, that is sort of kind of about what we saw down there. So your top right one is an animation. You got the top left one, that is from the original sonar scan, the famous one that they found it on in 2011 when they were sailing back from Finland to Stockholm. That's the only, actually one of the only existing actual pictures of the anomaly, and that's only a sonar scan. That's not a real picture, but it actually tells a kind of the same of what the divers had described to the artist that painted the one to the top right, the green one, and the one you have in the bottom to the right is just an enlargement of the one on your top left one. Then we have the lower left one, and that is from an animation, a 3D animation that's made by a guy named Peter. He have changed his name from Facebook, but I call him what he was back then. His name was Peter Luff, and he did a lot of artist work as well. And did that beautiful animation where you see the anomaly 3D animated all the way around and actually sailing around it or floating around it if you want. So the only real picture you got here is the one up in the top left corner. And I think that when people are seeing all the different pictures that come out on animations, they kind of forget it's an animation and not a real picture they're looking at. Even the top right one that Hauke has made, if you look into it and zoom in on it, you will see there are actually divers diving on top of it, and they have tried to make the divers the actual size compared to the anomaly in the background.
Oh, right.
It is a great picture. But I think many people look at those pictures that has been painted and done, and they confuse it with the real deal.
Yes, the only one picture that's real for everybody that's watching it is that the top left one.
Top
and
left
the pictures
one,
we've got.
And then, yeah, of course, all the pictures we got hidden in a secret room here.
Yeah.
Under the basement.
We can't let them out yet.
But they are going to come out, and you guys are absolutely convinced that this is. Yeah. I mean, over 100 grams worth of fuel so far tells you that
I have to come in, you see, because I've looked at it in depth, and I'm fascinated with rocks, and I'm fascinated with ancient structures and ancient civilizations, and I think that's one thing that we don't have to rule out here. That could it have belonged to an ancient civilization that was once here, whether it be before the Ice Age or after.
I'm gonna say, Dolly, how old would that be? Because how long ago was the Ice Age? Did you say?
Over 13, 15,000.
Yeah. I would say it's between 13,000 to 15,000 years old, the structure. I would. That's just a guess. That's just a guess.
I think that's
and when we also look at the structure itself, it's round. It's a round structure. And when we look at places like Göbekli Tepe, which is one of the most ancient places recently found, and that's a round structure. We've got Stonehenge, that's a round structure. We've got Adam's calendar, that's a round structure. So are all the places that are at Stonehenge, Göbekli Tepe, Adam's calendar, and all these circles, could they be foundations for something that possibly
could be
looks like what's in the Baltic Sea? And it's just a guess. Could it be? You know,
I'm gonna bring this up because Lee's just asked me to share this page. Which bit were you talking about, Lee?
If you scroll halfway down, there's something which talks about material that was found there. I was just wondering whether you could tell me anything about that, because it looks
whereabouts is this?
Keep going, mate. Further down, it's about halfway down the page. Turns out Ollie is the slowest scroller in the world.
I'm Is that their ship?
No, that's the Swedish warship that followed them.
Okay.
And their ship was called
I'll be back.
Ancelis.
So this is obviously, these are real pictures from.
These are the real pictures, yeah.
It does look like it's concrete, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, am I right by saying, Thomas, they were trying to drill into this thing?
They haven't tried to drill into it yet because as a diver, you need to put weight into it to drill in concrete and rocks, and you can't do that quite like you can do above the surface by pulling your weight into it. You push yourself up. It takes some special equipment. They did take some samples, and they sent them to the Weizmann Institute.
This is what I was looking at. Sorry.
Oh wow.
Because I mean that stuff looks crazy.
Is it real? This looks like
yeah. Look at the markings on it.
Yeah.
Is this real?
I remember. Yeah. It's very real. It was. There was a natural explanation for it. I'm not sure I believed it, and I'm trying to.
A natural explanation.
Yeah, and I'm not a debunker at all. I don't want to.
There's no natural explanation for that, surely.
Found something, yeah.
This stuff was found down there.
Yeah, and it was something with the. What was it? You see,
that was something else.
No, there was something with a rock that was crystallizing itself and made those patterns, and they brought it up and they showed 100 similar rocks like that. But it looks amazing, that rock. But apparently they were found.
I know there was a shaft in it.
It's like a melted PlayStation 5.
I was going to say that looks like molten metal, like a heat shield or something that melted on entry.
It looks like that to me. It looks like something that has been.
If somebody showed me that,
remember the picture.
If somebody showed me that.
I must admit, I've never seen that picture that you're showing me now in front of me. I've never seen that. Where have you had this picture from?
This is on the Baltic Sea. It's Baltic Sea Anomaly, and it's somebody's website.
Well, I'm going to have to check this picture out with the real guys because I've never ever seen that picture.
So do you smell a rat there, Dolly?
I smell a rat because I've heard of something else. But it might, cause a bit of a stir.
I've seen the picture before.
Yeah.
Many times. It was on Facebook and posted on Facebook.
I've heard
so
you
think this is real?
Yeah, I've heard that they found a substance down there that was tested that was strange.
That was a sample they took trying to chip off part of one of the sides of the anomaly, but it was concrete.
So were they not able to get a sample? You said they were trying to get a sample from the actual anomaly.
They did get a sample.
And they sent it to the Weizmann Institute in Switzerland, Austria, and
see there we go. There's the hieroglyphics that you see that what you're looking at there. That's from our rover footage that we've got. And in there, you're looking at a perfect corner. Look at that for corner.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I mean? That's masonry at its finest. That's stone masonry at its finest.
The straight line as well down the bottom is very odd. It's a clear step and indentation, isn't it?
When you look at the video, they're actually filming a bit of the wall before we end up where that screenshot is taken. Actually, I think it's one of my first screenshots.
Yes.
But it has been on for a while.
There looks like there's a little metal shaft, like a grid, a little metal grid to the side of that. That's there. And then it comes to what looks like some little steps and then a possible shaft on the top.
Do you know how big this area is?
I have an estimation because the claw on the rover on the ROV you actually can see in the right corner.
Yes,
is about 10 to 15 centimeters wide. It's not a giant big one. So I would say that from left to right we are looking at about a meter.
Okay.
And that one is one of the most interesting. I don't know why they have that bad red picture up, but
wow, that's the dome on top right there.
That's what they call the dome. It is important to say that photo is taken with a fish eye lens on, And it's not looking like that. There is a photo of
you see, Thomas, this is what we appreciate. We appreciate the honesty.
And this is where I say people don't understand what they're looking at. Even the diver came up and told the public that it was taken with a fisheye lens, and that was why it looked curved on the picture, because they wanted to take.
So it didn't actually rise up; it was just kind of flat, but a different color.
And the original picture is up there somewhere. I don't think that's the Baltic Sea Anomalies homepage.
This might just be a fan page.
Lee's just found this one.
Okay,
and just,
I ran
and just kind of like
quite a few around somewhere.
Now that one there, the black material, that could be a possibility. That's a possibility. They did find some black substance down there.
That what you're looking at is the actual sample that chipped off from the rock.
So is that basalt or is it something like that?
I can't remember the test result of it because it's a very scientific.
I think the test results from it were actually inconclusive.
Looks like iron. It looks oxidized.
They were inconclusive test results, I think.
The test result they got back told them exactly what components it was made of. And I do remember there was a discussion about one of the chemical components in the sample that shouldn't be to find in that specific area in the Baltic Sea. And that was one of the discussions about the sample that came back from the Weizmann Institute. Did that chemical content, or what you call it, component belong to that area, and why was it found there? It's not unnatural. It was quite natural a test, but the discussion was why was it found in the Baltic Sea? In the Baltic Sea.
So you guys have spoke to a lot of the divers, the people that are involved in the investigation of this. Have you ever, with what you guys do with the UFO channel, have you ever asked these divers if they've ever seen any USOs, as in when they're out at sea? Do they ever see anything? Okay. How we talking? How we talking?
But the answer is not interesting.
No.
Okay.
No.
It's not.
Because these guys didn't originally go out there for...
Stefan Horgeborn, he couldn't tell me what I would love to hear.
No.
So none of them have told me, of the divers have told me about any experiences of USOs. Not for what I'm aware of, no.
Oh, okay. So there's no stories that they've seen anything out there.
There is one little thing to it that could create a little bit of food for thought, because one of the divers that was on was actually from the Swedish Navy and worked for the Navy as, if I remember correct, I'm going to be told off later if I don't. If I remember correct, and I can't remember his name now, he was working for the Swedish Navy in his daily life, and he had this extra job with Ocean X team, and he's probably one of them divers that could tell something interesting if you one day get hold of him. I haven't been able to talk to that specific diver himself. He wasn't there those times I was there, but I spoke to the others.
Lee, this you've just, is this real?
I don't know. I'm just doing my best young Jamie impression.
No, you're doing a good job, mate. Let's have a go here. Let's have a go. Let me share this.
Is it real? Is it real?
This is what I want to ask you guys, because I have no idea. It looks a little bit
too good to be true.
Looks a bit sniffy, you know.
Sniffy, a bit.
No, I don't know. This here, is this real? Is this?
No, that's animation made by Hauke Wacht, my good friend.
Okay, so this is the animation. These aren't real pictures. This is the animation. The artist's impression.
They've cross-referenced it with, and it's kind of, people are thinking when they're looking at it.
Oh, you've got the little animation here.
Yeah.
But is that more in line with what the dome would look like on it? So it like a half circle.
Well,
there is no
it's funny you say that, because we just spoke about it before. That first picture that was taken with a fish lens made it look like a dome, and that animation was made from the pictures and descriptions from the diver as well. Also, so that was how I think that dome ended up on the animation as well. The dome, there is an outcrop, but it's not a dome, round dome. It's elevated, yes, and it's probably rounded on top, but it's not a round dome as such.
Right.
No, you have to see the original pictures. I still think I got them on actually Spacelink TV on the Baltic Sea Anomaly. I have a section in there where I've transferred some of all the old pictures and videos from our first website.
It's a good little animation. I have to say.
Yeah, it's great. Fantastic. I've used it quite a few times.
I like the divers there for perspective. It gives you a feel for how big it is.
But
I know how they must have felt next to that thing.
Think of it from a psychological point of view. That animation you're looking at, for you, is actually only interesting because you know it's the Baltic Sea Anomaly they're depicting. If you didn't know that, that would be any random animation of an underwater module.
Be anything. Latest Disney movie. Hey, Thomas, I meant to ask you earlier about on these dives, like you say that they cost so much. Do you guys pay for that? Do you have investors who pay for it? And have you ever considered maybe talking to a company that owns a submersible submarine or something and seeing if they might contribute one to film something like this, or donate it?
I did a request 2014, 15. I don't know how I did it, but I did a request for a submarine, and it turned out to be so many 100,000 pounds, and that was just a little like 2-person submarine where you could basically just sit in with a camera, and that's explosive.
Right. So if you could get a company to donate one to you or to let you use it for your time, for a month or whatever, for promotional reasons, I would think that a savvy company could find a way to make this a win for them by funding your expedition, because either they get to prove that what it is, that it's something old, or it's something, it's something created, not something natural. Either way, it's going to be a win in the publicity market for them. They can say, hey, we solved the Baltic Sea Anomaly, or we still don't know what it is.
What we need to find is a character, and that character should be a person who is ready to invest in history, no matter what the result is. And if the result isn't what we want it to be, that person should be ready to say, oh, well, that was fun. Now we got some history. And find a person who will invest $1 million in that. That's the hard job. I remember some of all those, what's he called? Richard Branson has been asked, for what I remember, and there was another guy.
Branson's been asked about this.
I remember that Richard Branson was, somebody told me he was already been presented for what you call it? Yeah, when you want sorry, my Danish English, I lose the thread sometimes when I have to translate at the same time.
A sponsor.
Yeah, a sponsor. Yeah, you have to. Yeah, a sponsor. Yeah.
Well, they need to ask Bigelow. That's the guy
to ask. Bigelow was the other one that also has been talked about, and if I remember correct, Bigelow also was asked, but he never responded. If I remember correct, I have to check up on it. But there were Branson and Bigelow, and there was a third one, which is not a famous one, but I can't remember his name now because I haven't prepared myself today. That came back and said that he was not interested in it. So there has been a few thoughts out on how to get the money. We did start a GoFundMe project, and it generated about $25,000, about that amount. Those $25,000 was, as you already know, only enough for the diesel for a ship the size, with cranes that can lower submarines and ROVs and stuff like that. So Damn, I did it again. It's because I have to sit
Do it
and
all
type
time,
in
mate.
my head and I kind of lose
It's
it.
called a brain fart.
Brain fart. I got a lot of brain farts today. Yeah, they created a GoFundMe and they generated about $25,000, and that wasn't enough to do anything with what they wanted to do. So they took this money and said to one of their friends who had a fishing boat that went out to fish that had sonar equipment, the best thing we can do with this money right here, right now, is to give it to somebody and ask him to go over with the sonar. Here's the coordinates and do it as much as you can, please, and we'll pay for your fuel. So that did that, and that was in 2014 where they came back with new sonar images of the anomaly. That's also on our website somewhere. So yeah, we did the GoFundMe, but we didn't reach anything that we could actually use to do something big and constructive with. And I think it was a shame that we couldn't raise any more up. There has been talking about GoFundMe again, and if you go in on the group on Facebook, you can probably find a discussion still talking about GoFundMe. A lot of people have been coming with creative idea about how to raise money, but it has never really happened. Yeah, so that's the story of the money and GoFundMe and the fundings.
It seems like such a shame because it's like. Yeah. Like you said, it'd just be nice to find out if this is just one really, really fascinating, interesting structure layout of a rock, or is this something that? I mean, if this was before an ice age, and it's some sort of intelligent structure, even if it's just like a farm or anything, you know,
it's still amazing.
It would be mind blowing.
Well,
this thing is just down there.
Yeah, like you said, you need to find someone who wants to invest in history one way or the other, because this is going to be historic. Yeah, you know.
You know what, Oliver and Lee and Manny, I got a good idea. The Black Knight satellite documentary is coming out soon, and if you help us share it, we get 1 million views on it. I'll bet you we put some money into the Baltic Sea anomaly. How about that?
When is your Black Knight satellite?
It's due to be out in latest in November. Latest between September and November. We are still waiting for. We thought we had all the recordings in the house. Then 5 more turned off that we need to do recordings with as well before we can continue with anything. So it's going to be at least a month or 2 before.
That should be a good one. I want to see that, man. I've done a little research on that Black Knight satellite. I'm curious, when you were doing the video, did you research into the team that put that took those photos? The was it STS-60 that went up and put that up? I forget.
STS-88.
88. Okay, yeah, so 88. That team was called the Stealth Dogs, I think they were called, or the Devil Dogs originally, and they turned their nickname. They've got a strange patch, and that was one of the first missions, I think, to ever use a strange, like, NASA logo kind of secret patch.
Weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They like to do the funny things with their patches and make it look almost extraterrestrial sometimes.
Yeah, this one was one of the first missions, I think, where they had kind of a secret patch. I was just looking it up the other day, the Stealth Dogs and the history of why they came up with that name and stuff. And it was kind of interesting. It was I think it was a Russian and American team that was a hybrid team that put that up, that went up and put a ISS piece up at the same time and snapped that Black Knight satellite picture. And a couple other ones. I found 6 or 7 other ones from that same roll of film that show the Black Knight.
I think that was 7, yeah.
What do you say to the debunkers, Thomas, that have said that it's just a piece of the covering cloth,
heat shroud?
Yeah, the heat shroud that's come off the shuttle. Yeah,
shield, yeah. Protective heat shield. I say, oh well, I don't really talk to them.
Because there is a history with this thing that goes back. I believe does it go back to the 18th century? What does it? It goes back.
There's a history from Black Knight satellite. Nikola Tesla received the See, I'm not prepared either for this one. In 1899, the first time that Nikola Tesla received 9899, and he received that signal. Nikola Tesla was intelligent enough to figure out that it came from. We didn't really have radio. We have telegraph at that time. He was intelligent enough to figure out that it was something that came from outside. He was also intelligent enough to try figure out like where it was originating from. And if I remember correct, he thought that it was from Mars first, and then he made some calculations that told him that it was from within our own atmosphere that it was coming. That was in 1898 and 99. Then there was this Norwegian physician. His name was Jørgen Hals. That was in 1920 or 28. He received signals again, the same signals, and that was those signals. As you know, in 1920, we didn't even have satellites up yet. So what was it they had received? And it was not from something coming from Earth. So they had these signals, kept them. Duncan Noonan translated them in the 1970s and got a quite interesting translation out of it that said that basically it told us where they came from, what star system they came from. And then he later retrieved his explanation public and said that he had made a miscalculation. So it couldn't be from that specific area, but it wasn't far from it. So his whole statement that told us where they were coming from, what they actually want, what this message contained, basically fell to the ground because he made a single calculation error in the distance from planet Earth to that first star system that the message said it came from, to figure out how to translate it and put all the dots together.
It's interesting that Donald Trump, when he was in when he was president, and he was talking about the space force. Donald Trump's father, am I right by saying, did he not buy Nikola Tesla's? He bought all Nikola Tesla's work. What was left of it? That's what I heard. I could be wrong on that one. Anybody else heard that one?
But no, I haven't heard that.
And he's talking about Space Force. I'm getting goosepimples.
No, I haven't heard that one.
Reagan started Solar Warden.
Yeah, Reagan started Solar Warden back in the 80s.
Yeah,
had a Space Force.
Star Wars, we remember that.
Yeah.
We've always had a Space Force.
Lee, what are your thoughts on the Black Knight?
All I know about it really is those like 7 photographs. So I was just going to say, is there? I mean, obviously, I don't expect you to go and talk about your documentary before.
No, but we're definitely going to follow this up. Thomas and Dolly, you're coming back on once the documentary's out.
But has there been any like new like findings or anything with it?
Yes, I've got an exclusive in the documentary.
There are new information released regarding to the Black Knight satellite. I was just about to say Baltic Sea anomaly. Black Knight satellite.
Is it nipple twisting good? Is it?
Yeah. It is very, very interesting, and it would make some people think twice about what they have thought before.
Okay.
But you gotta see it.
Yeah, when's it coming out? I want to see it. I want to watch it right now. Come on.
Between September and November.
It depends because we
got some new big names.
Yeah, and I can't keep my mouth shut.
Come on,
is it going to be on Spacelink TV or is it going to be on?
Listen to this. I just spoke to Billy today, our boss.
Billy Carlson.
Yeah. The boss. And he told me that the participant that was in the Forbidden, I'm not gonna whisper it.
There's me.
All the participants that have been in the Forbidden Disclosure Conference yesterday, a few days ago, is actually going to come in with their part in the Black Knight satellite. That's Louis Elizondo, that's Nick Pope, that's Richard Dolan, and that is Jimmy Church.
Yeah.
And he didn't mention Linda, but I think Linda Moulton Hall is going to be in also as well.
Wow.
So that is.
So they're all. So the one that interests me there more than anything. So Lou Elizondo is going to talk about the Black Knight satellite.
Yeah.
Apparently, he have something to say. I don't know. I haven't spoke to Lou yet.
Hey, if you get a chance, you should ask him because he's an inventor. He's got a couple of patents he claims. So you should ask him about that and see what he knows about
military intelligence officer. He's probably had his finger down the pie.
And the good thing about our little job is that we get to call all these people and speak to them firsthand. So we do all the editing, you see.
Yeah, that could be some good exposure for your film too, to have some of those people in there, and if they're going to talk it up for you too, that's good.
Yeah.
Ollie, you must have been checking Spacelink out today, haven't you? Checked Spacelink TV out today on YouTube?
Because I was like, I went to put the link in the channel, and I'm like, the name's changed.
Yeah, but did you see the latest video added today, this morning?
No, I haven't seen it, but you're welcome to put it on. You're welcome to play the video.
It's about a 2-minute video, actually, about the Black Knight satellite, and it's just giving a little piece of Jimmy Church's part out.
Well, I don't. Well, I'll tell you what. The link is in the description because I don't want to take it away from your. Unless you want me to.
No.
The link is in the description, so people can go check out Spacelink TV. Go subscribe now, people.
Our Black Knight satellite documentary preview that we uploaded today with Jimmy Church.
Right. Yeah, I won't play it now because we'll get the people to go and go and have a look. But
we are going to launch it in the USA in September.
Is it going to go on YouTube or is it going on the private platform?
No. It's going to be on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Right.
For the first time, we have actually had a budget to do something constructive with. And that budget actually binds us a little bit to where it comes from. So it will be available on ForbiddenKnowledge.tv.
Awesome. So when it comes to this Black Knight satellite, I've seen the debunkers. I've seen them speak about it, but no matter what, there's a few pictures of it, but it does look the same shape. And I mean, if you went down the debunk route and you said that this is nothing more than a shield that's just come off, and it's this thing's been in numerous photographs. It's been in a few photographs.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't stay in polar orbit for a start. It would either come into Earth's atmosphere and burn up on re-entry.
But would it? Well, I don't know if I mean,
it wouldn't stay in polar orbit.
I don't know about that. I mean, I'm not an astronaut. I've no idea. But one thing I would say, Dolly, is that I don't think it would. It seems to stay the same shape. So if it was just a shield, why would it stay the same shape? Because it has that kind of like a beak on it. If you know what I mean, it looks. If you look at it, and you see the multiple pictures of it. And when you go,
like that, Ollie, you said a beak, so a bird, a sky bird, perhaps. Shh.
I don't think it's a bird, but
what flies? A sky bird.
Well, look at the Egyptians. They had a lot.
Yeah, think about it now. Ancient technology. The Egyptians, they loved their sky
Lee's just
bird.
looking at like, what the fuck is going on here?
No, I'm listening.
Lee, what are your thoughts on the ancient Egypts and the ancient alien theorist stuff?
I'm not sure.
I'm not talking about that guy that's on the H&M. You know, the guy with the fuzzy hair.
the
What's his
aliens thing.
Giorgio.
Like you say,
Giorgio. He's a beautiful man.
He's
But,
beautiful, Giorgio.
yeah, he's a good-looking chap.
I've always been like in the camp of I'm not convinced these things are extraterrestrial. I just think they're either older or like
You think they've been on Earth a long time?
Yeah, I think
like the Atlantis theory that you were talking about.
Yeah, no, you read some Graham Hancock stuff and things like that, and all these things point to the fact that we've been around a lot longer than we are led to believe we've been around for. And there's no reason that if we've been around for much longer and we've seen like cataclysms and stuff like that, there's nothing to say that at some point humanity hasn't been split at some point, you know, with us of land dwellers and then some other race that's, I don't know, maybe saved some of its technology before the cataclysm happened.
See, the more and more people speak about that, and they speak about the ancients and a civilization that just disappeared. I mean, when you look at,
did they disappear?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Maybe they are under the ocean. Maybe they're on Mars.
Well, if you look at the control that we're under on the planet and what's going on.
Yeah, well, we have to be very careful what we say about that.
Be careful. But did they disappear?
Who knows?
Who knows? Did they disappear?
So so that would lead on to something that Lou speaks about the. I mean, what are you two thoughts about when they're speaking about these guys being a threat? I mean, you must have seen what Stephen Greer put out recently about the fact that they are kind of, they're wanting us all to think that whatever this is up in the sky that people are spotting is an aerial threat, and that there's a big agenda there, and getting into with the Space Force, that there's a danger that they are going to start shoot. Well, Stephen says they're going to start shooting these the species, whatever it is, whether it's something that's on Earth that's off into space to stay away from us. Stephen is saying that that they're not a threat. We're the threat. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that we are our own threat. I think I'm with Stephen Greer on that one. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to harm us.
No.
Do you think they're pushing the aerial threat for a reason, or do you think that is just?
It's all about money. The more fear they can put into us, the more funding they can get to protect us from our fear, which would be by getting more military, getting more Space Force. Don't worry, we got it all under control here, but we need funding. And by the way, these are going to come in, down from the skies, and they eat kids that are less than 7 years old every day. So we got to shoot them all down. We need funding. Come on, guys. That's kind of what's going on.
I think that's where it's boiling down to, funding.
So when the alien,
there could be a lie hidden within the truth, basically.
The alien invasion has always been presented as a threat for that one single purpose, to create fear, so you can create funding and release some of all those money that are hidden around in the system.
I think the threat is that the bad guys that are here just don't want to let go, and perhaps that's the threat. That they don't want to become one with the rest of the cosmos, that they want full dominance and control of this planet, and perhaps that's why they instill us with such fear and about an outside threat.
Hey, Ollie, I wanted to comment on the threat thing real quick, because there was a timing where that narrative from that particular party about the threat thing, that changed, and that was right after the elections were known, and it was known to the intelligence community that the Afghan war was going to be ending at some point. And so there was this revenue stream for the defense industry that they knew was going to be shut off. And all of a sudden they're like, well, where can we make that up? Let's create an alien threat to bring that money back. And that's exactly, I agree with you, Thomas, what you said about it being about money. That's really what I think, that's what the timing is because if you look, it's not so much about the election, but about the fact that they knew that the war was going to be ending. And that war has made that defense industry a ton and ton of money for the last 20 years. That's now getting cut off. You know, every single Hellfire rocket, every single minigun that fires a round, every single thing from an MRE to a roll of duct tape, those guys were making money on. And it's gone. It's going to be gone soon. So I think they're trying to replace it with this alien threat. But that's just my 2 cents.
The only issue with that, with the idea of using it for funding, which I just thought about, would be wouldn't like foreign powers, be it like China or Russia or whoever, wouldn't it then be an vested interest for them to go out of their way to debunk this, like the UFO narrative that's being put out by mainly by the US right now, is from what we're seeing, because it would be a quick way to make people not be on board with like pumping money into this, where it doesn't seem to be the case. So it's you like, I mean, you don't get much out of China, but you get like little dribs and drabs, and then you get stuff come out of Russia, which seem to back up like the Tic Tac thing. You know, if it was just a US invention for money, I don't see them going along with it.
Well, it's not the U.S. invention for money. It's the U.S. defense industry's invention for money.
That's
not the U.S. government. So that's different. But yeah, so those guys inventing it, they are probably working in cahoots with people in the defense industry in those countries that you named. It's just like in our country here, we've got Shell and Exxon are 2 different gas stations on the same corner, and one will list their gasoline at $2.99 a gallon, and the other will be $2.89 a gallon or something like that. They fix costs, and then you go to another part of town, and one's $4.99 a gallon, and the other is $4.89 a gallon. So they collude to set prices and things like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if the defense industry in these countries do the same damn thing. Why not? They're all making money off it. It's in their all of their best interest to create this thing. And so I don't think they really want to. And as far as China and Russia go, maybe they don't want to because they know that it's going to spread us thin on the American front end. If we're dumping all this money into our defense industry, but we're also dumping it into NASA and space exploration, and we're also dumping it into political programs and things like that, we're spreading ourselves thin, and it feels like somebody's trying to multi-pronged attack on our economy, and that's kind of what I feel like that, why the foreign powers wouldn't really try to debunk it. They're like, hey, if you want to go off and spend a bunch of money on this crazy thing, go ahead. We're just going to hit you even harder on these other elements, space exploration and things like that. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, either way, there's definitely a concerted effort to make sure that not like people like us that are sat on YouTube channels, but people that are sat at home that just watch television, like primetime TV. There is a concerted effort to make them believe in UFOs, and that's what I can't quite put my finger on.
Yeah, and to make them believe that it's a threat. And in my Tommy the Troll video where I trolled Lou, I said that. I was like, look, man, you're not just running an operation on the American public or on Congress here. You're running this operation on the entire world. Everybody's listening to this. And, in 2 years, when he just gets what he wants and disappears, the rest of the world's still going to remember what he said, and it's going to have a lasting effect.
2 years.
I don't know. I hope so. The day I never have to hear about Lou Elizondo will be great. I really don't. I don't like that guy. I call him Lockheed Lou because I think he works for the defense industry, but whatever. If I could prove that, I would, and put it out there, but maybe one of these days. Yeah, I hope he does go away. We never asked him to show up. Where did he come from? 2017, he just pops up on the scene and is like, oh, I've got all the intel. By the way, how, he could have done that in 2007 when he first got access to that information at ATIP, if he really wanted to blow the whistle, instead of waiting until the program was done and he was in some other program for, special management staff and all that. Like, who even knows what that guy was into? But it ain't good. It ain't good. None of it.
I think he's a begrudging face for it now. I think the the guy which was supposed to be there was Tom DeLonge, wasn't it? They wanted him to be the front-facing guy, and he destroyed himself on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and then dipped out with Angels and Airwaves after he got his payoff from the TTSA
Hey,
stock.
I didn't mind Angels and Airwaves. There's a couple of songs on there that I really liked. Dark Hour Paranormal. I'm very jealous of you, boy. Them boys are living it up right now, all together. Third Phase of Moon, Dark Hour Paranormal, and Rich. And who's the other guy that's with them? I forgot his name. Anyway,
Dr. J was with them for a bit.
Yeah. They're all. Where are they? Whereabouts are they?
Probably in a hot tub.
They were in California last night. I don't know where they're at now. Yeah,
I would give my left testicle to get in a hot tub with Third Phase of Moon. I'm not even a gay man. Just to touch. Just to touch Blake's face. I love him.
Seriously, I just want a hot tub with nobody else in it. That's fine by me. But
very jealous. Dark Hour Paranormal, they're the best looking guy in ufology. He's a beautiful chap. Look at that. Look at that man.
He's got a great singing voice too, man.
Yeah, he's delicious.
Killed it on it. Yeah.
My wife wonders about me. She does.
Just tell her it's a little man crush. It's just a little one.
At least it's not on Justin Bieber.
Oh, no, he is cute.
He's a little bit young for me. Yes, I mean, when we're talking about these things that go in and out of our oceans, and people spotting them out at sea constantly, you hear about this. You hear about the legends of like people that are out at sea before people could even record anything on any device. People would draw it. People would speak about it. You'd hear the legends of the sea. You'd hear about krakens and what have you. You'd hear about the noises that this kraken made. But sometimes it wasn't that they'd even see it. People depicted it as a massive, big tentacle thing. Okay, but a lot of the actual myths were people that had just heard it out at sea. They'd heard these noises that were not whales. They were just these insane noises out at sea from this thing that was a kraken.
I'm watching stuff on Skinwalker stuff at the minute, creeping myself out. It's really, honestly, too much. But do you think they're real, the kraken?
No, I'm not talking. I think maybe what if the kraken was what they described as a kraken? You know, because a lot of it was just the actual sounds that it made that people would report these weird sounds. And you know, like, I mean, I know you guys in the States, you get these horns a lot. You hear these massive, huge horn-like sounds. Trumpets from the gods or whatever. Yeah. This is what they heard out at sea with the kraken.
Could that not be whales?
It could be, Dolly. Yeah, but you would think that people that have been out at sea for a long time would know the difference between a whale.
Yeah, but you see, when they're ancient Neanderthal man running around.
I'm not talking about Neanderthals. I'm talking about like Columbus or what have you. Yeah, I'm talking about people that was out at sea on ships that would report things, weird things that happened out at sea, strange noises out at sea, strange lights out at sea.
I know a lot of lights have been reported. A lot of sailors have reported seeing lights underneath the ocean.
The most famous one, Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
Say that. Wasn't that the day before he found America as well?
Yeah, it was. It was. And it was written in his diary, his little book.
Some might say they led him to America.
That's the question. If he was guided, who was he guided by? Do we call them aliens or do we call them angels? That's the big question.
Depends on when you encounter them. You know, you encounter them now, you might call them aliens, but 2,000 years ago, you might have called them aliens.
Who you are, where you come from, how you're raised, what religion you've grown up in. So,
education level, all that stuff. You know, Yeah, it's interesting. I've always thought about that too. You know, if you're rolling around on prehistoric Earth and an alien ship lands, you're going to think it might be a god or an angel or something like that.
Absolutely.
You know, and maybe they told you, hey, we'll be back in a couple thousand years. Make sure you guys shape up your ship, you know, and we'll check you out then. You know, I guess we'll see. I've always wondered about that, you know, like maybe there's you know, like the Planet 9 theory, you know, maybe there's a race of aliens that comes around. They would be aliens. They're not from Earth, but they're still in our solar system, you know, and maybe that planet only comes around every 10 or 12,000 years to get close enough for us to kind of interact or see them, you know. We don't know exactly what's going on with Planet 9 out there right now, but yeah, I think it'd be curious, you know. I was going to ask you about the Black Knight too. Like, I had done some research recently into the SpaceX Starlink systems, and so I was looking at all the different satellites that are in orbit above the Earth and whatnot. And I noticed that there's about 16,000 pieces of identified space debris, satellites, and things like that up there. But NORAD does a pretty good you know, with their satellite systems, does a pretty good job of tracking all that. And I was wondering if you guys were able to discover if they had found anything new for the Black Knight, because you think if it's up there, they'd be able to track it, because they claim that anything over the size of a bread box they can identify in low Earth orbit or within, you know, a few hundred miles of the planet or so. So did you guys discover any of that in your, or will you talk about that in your documentary? I don't want you to tip your hand on your show, but
there has been talk about space debris, and as I said, it is amazing that NASA have actually cataloged so much space debris. Funny enough, I want to talk about a little bit around what you're saying. I want to talk about the I forgot the English word for it. Sometimes I have to translate in my head, and sometimes it really destroys everything for me when I lose just one word. What was I saying?
About the debris?
Yeah, about the debris, yeah.
Is this back to the Baltic Sea?
A few weeks ago, there was a report from the Russian cosmonaut, and that reported he saw a UFO. It wasn't in news, and he actually recorded it, and that was posted on Twitter, and it was spotted. And he said we might have seen something UFO-like. That was what that was. They later came back and said that it was possibly some of the Starlink satellite that they saw. These 5 lights he photographed in a video moving with the same distance to each other all the time was possibly the Starlink satellites that they had launched it up the day before. And I'm like, okay, how can a Russian Roscosmos come out and say it's possibly a Starlink satellite when even Russia have the same as NORAD had as a space debris radar, so to speak? Why can't people tell for sure what it is when they got all this fancy technology? It was first, later it was debunked as being urine dismissed from the capsule that was reflecting light. But again, we got all this technology. We can see space debris, but they can't tell us what we're looking at in real time.
Jesus.
Or they can, and they just won't tell us, because I think they know a lot more than they know what they know what this stuff is. You know, they know if they can track a piece of debris this big in you know, in orbit, then they can identify, they can typify or categorize all this stuff. They can say whether it's, you know, a natural structure or a satellite or an asteroid or something like that. You know, they're not. And you know, I did some research into the NEO-SM project, the Near Earth Object Surveillance Mission, which was another satellite to grab bigger asteroids, you know, things that were the size of a car or larger, an automobile. But if they've got that kind of technology, why don't we have like 30 of those things up there floating around telling us where everything is and everything? It seems like for planetary protection, we should, but also for the safety of our satellites, of our cosmonauts, our astronauts, and our space stations and things, we should be tracking all that stuff and getting rid of the stuff that doesn't need to be up there.
And here's the big question. Don't you think we already are doing it? We just don't know it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that X-47B can go up and snag a satellite out of orbit and capture it and bring it back down. They've been working on other types of projects, like a grappling hook to grab space debris and grab it in, and a net program and things like that. But yeah, I think they probably already are. Anything that's up there that they don't want up there, they probably just go and grab with that X-47. I don't know. I would.
It's an ideal draft.
Yeah.
What did everybody make of Branson? I know it's a bit off topic of the USOs, but what did we all think of Richard and Bezos going into space?
Vulgar display of fucking fortune.
Wealth. I know, like, what are those seats? 250 grand a pop. So one of those flights could fund, Thomas's expedition to discover the Baltic Sea anomaly, and here it is. And they're commercializing low Earth orbit. Like, I kind of, we talked about this a few years back when Bridenstine was in NASA. That was his big push. Like, commercialize space, commercialize space, commercialize space. Well, this is going to make it cheaper eventually. It's $250,000 a seat now, but at some point it might come down to 10 or 12,000. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, I don't see. I just can't see me going into space. In my lifetime
for a thrill ride. It seems expensive, and again, like I said, why waste the money if you could apply those things for better projects, like I just illustrated, like with trying to figure out what's up at the deep sea, a Baltic Sea anomaly. Why can't you, like, we see that money. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the whole capitalism thing, but it could be used better. And instead it's going to be used to send people up to space for fun, for what, a couple minutes.
What irritates me is these are the same people which want to fundamentally change the lives of everyday people on the earth because we need to cut carbon back and we need to do things about climate change. But what we're going to do is make a load of lies up to make it sound like it's carbon neutral and then use loads of fossil fuels to fire billionaires into the sky for a short trip. And that, to me, feels odd.
A little hypocritical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Says
the man who's got a Formula One channel.
Oh yeah, no. Hey, I'm not arguing about it, but the idea that they go around telling us like what needs to be
how
changed.
To live our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like the resources are going to be kept for a high class while the rest of us struggle away as slaves.
Somebody told me Elon's jumping on that bandwagon and he's going to get a ride on the Dragon. Is that true?
I think I read something about it this morning about Elon wanting to go up too on maybe somebody else's ship though. I don't know. That's kind of crazy, but I don't know if he will go up. He might. Why not?
Ticket of Branson.
Yeah.
He needs to take Joe Rogan up with him and do an interview live. Elon and Joe Rogan going up on the Dragon while chasing the Dragon away,
That's bad. Oh man.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, I mean, the flat Earth community are having a bit of a field day with this because they're saying, how come they're not showing more? I mean, if you watch Jeff, especially if you watch Jeff, anybody watch the Jeff Bezos go live?
I didn't. I saw the Richard Branson one. I didn't watch Jeff Bezos.
So when you watched, I watched it all. I watched both of them live, and Jeff's. I know Jeff's one. He was just a bit weird because I mean this guy's. He's absolutely who's more minted, Richard or Jeff?
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jeff. I thought Jeff was as well, but Jeff's just to me just the budget didn't seem there. I'm watching this thing shoot up into space, but where's the camera on Jeff? I wanted to see Jeff sat next to the 90-year-old lady and watch her screaming as it's going up. But I didn't see any of that. All I saw was a rocket go up, and I saw it separate, and I saw it come back down. And then we see afterwards, we see the footage of Jeff. Listen, guys,
there was no internal.
I believe in space. I believe in space. I'm just saying, Just putting it out there, Jeff. You know, with all that money, you could have really made a statement to the flat earthers. And Elon, if you are going to go into space, my friend, can you please take Mark Sargent with you?
The Syrian people came to this world to teach and
yeah, I think if they wanted to, you know, if you wanted to disprove the flat earther, you could just pay to send one of their head people up there to film, you know, a launch or something. But I've watched enough launches to tell.
Manny, if I was Elon Musk, this is what I would do. I was like, Jesus Christ, I've got enough money. I'd look at Jeff Bezos and I think, well, Jeff Bezos has just launched a 90-year-old woman. That sounds wrong. He's just took an old lady into space. That sounds wrong also. But if I was Elon Musk with his sense of humor, I would be like, hey, is that Mark Sargent? Yeah, it's Elon Musk here. You know, I'd like to take you to space, my friend. How do you like them fucking apples?
Right. Now, I haven't interviewed two different flat earthers. I know they're a feisty bunch, so I'm not going to upset them. But
I love them.
I'm not a flat earther, but what I do think's weird is that in the modern world, what can be filmed in high definition is filmed in high definition, and I don't understand why the footage we get of these things in space is always fucking rubbish. You look at I mean, even the Elon Musk thing when he sent that car into space, even if you take out,
you could tell it's so real because it looks so fake.
Yeah, but if you take that out, he said it was a car straight off the show floor and sent up there. Right? How is that dealing with temperatures up there for a start? How is it dealing with the vacuum of space? Why did it seem to, when it ejected from the capsule, why did it still seem to be in the holding area that there's pictures of before it was sent up? Like, there's so many odd things with it, and it fuels flat earthers because every time one of these things happens, there's something that's unexplainable about what's going on.
Like a mouse.
Like a fucking mouse.
Like a mouse that runs along a booster? Yes. Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah.
It wasn't a mouse.
I honestly can't debunk that it's not a mouse.
No.
It's pareidolia at its best. I love that piece of footage, though. I do.
It changes direction. It changes direction when it's supposed to be going 800 miles an hour in one direction.
You watch a lot of those SpaceX launches, you'll see some crazy stuff flying by. And I've watched hundreds of those things, man, hours and hours and hours. And you'll see all kinds of, it's not explosive bolts, but little pieces of debris, ice. And you do see ice crystals. I know I hate to say that, but you do see them, and condensation and stuff.
Space, man.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like that, I think one of the last SpaceX ones I watched actually had an in-tank camera to show you the fuel level with a microphone pickup, and you hear the rattling. Like you can hear kind of what's going on when this thing's flying up into space, and you're like, wow, okay, like there's a lot going down there, to see the liquid oxygen or the hydrogen in the tanks and stuff. Like, but it sounds like a construction site. You hear like steel cables, like that, the kind of twang of like steel cabling and metal flexing and stuff, and it's not at all pretty and solid like it seems. It's a lot more kind of grab your butt, here we go type of a feeling, I think.
This is the thing, though. This is the point I'm making. These rich guys, they need to launch the average Joe into space. The guy that's kind of like questioning stuff. Just say, there you go. So he can come back and go, you know what? I was a bit of a bell end. I got it wrong.
I don't think it'd help though, would it? Because I don't think you'd see the curvature of the Earth from that altitude. I don't think that goes high enough to see the curvature of the Earth.
What, the one that Bezos went?
Yeah, I don't think so. I can't remember how high it goes.
I think it does.
I don't think it does. I think you can barely see it from the. Is it the? What's the plane called? The.
Oh, I know which one you mean. the one that
the spy
takes off.
plane. Is it U2?
Well, is it the one
No,
that takes
no,
off from the edge of the wing?
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Is it the B2? No, not B2.
That's what I thought it was. But
that's a bomber.
Yeah, I don't think the commercial flights would be high enough.
You definitely see them on the SpaceX launches when you get up to, you know, I think the 12 or 13 kilometer range. You can see the whole, I mean, everything from the exterior cameras. Yeah, and those are something that I always, you know, like whenever somebody asks me about flat Earth, I'm like, well, let's go watch one of these 8-hour live streams where they actually stream the whole dang mission, and we'll talk about that from different camera views and things like that. Could that stuff be faked? Of course it could be faked, but the amount of footage that's out there from all the different space agencies, whether it's ESA, JAXA, NASA, you know, any of them, like that, I just couldn't see all that being coordinated and fake. That would be a global conspiracy on a level that I just don't think human beings could orchestrate. You know, they just, yeah, it would come out and yeah, somebody would leak. But
I mean, on this computer here, I've got probably, well, I ain't got a terabyte, but I've got about, I must have about 300 gigs worth of stuff, video footage from NASA, pictures from NASA when I was absolutely obsessed with NASA before I even started the YouTube channel. I'm it's on here. And there's a lot of that I will look at and I'll think, something wrong with that.
Here's a terabyte and I got 4 more of them. That's only Mars.
Is that all Mars stuff on there? Yeah.
Love it. I love it. I got a terabyte of UFOs on my backup drive right here. I know what you guys are talking about.
we can switch.
I started to have my suspicions with a lot of, and I questioned a lot of the NASA stuff, but for some reason I have this kind of like, I don't know if it's because I like the man, but I have this thing about Elon Musk that he's in it for the greater good, and he's taking people into, he's doing these cheap flights. He's trying to make it cheaper and cheaper. You know, he's trying to launch a piece of tinfoil into space shaped like a missile. But I think this guy, to me, seems like the trustworthy guy, because he's the face of it. He's the face of SpaceX. Who's the face of NASA? You know, who would I look at NASA and go, that's the guy, that's the face of NASA?
JPL. It's not a phase, yeah. It's an organization.
Do you know what I mean, though? Elon's got a face.
Well, they fucked it with the face of NASA, didn't they, in the first? Because they were like, yeah, that guy that we've got, that's out on television all the time. Turns out he's a Nazi. So yeah, they rethought it.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's the thing with Von Braun, if that's how you pronounce it. What Greer was saying with what's the name, Lee? What's your girl's name?
Carol Rosen.
That's the one.
Oh,
yep. He said that on his deathbed, he told her that the next thing that would happen would be the false flag alien invasion. Do you believe her? And I know we've gone off a tangent, but you know, we're 2 hours in now, so
invasion. Isn't it already going on?
That's what's happening now.
Yeah.
I tend to agree with what he said. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and everyone has you know, people have kind of said like, well, why would he say that? And if you've ever talked to an old military guy like that who's been in the thick of stuff or seen them in kind of their last days here, people tend to look at things a little differently when they know that they're dying. I hate to say it, but Von Braun probably had a lot of remorse and guilt about things and was trying to tell Carol Rosen something. If that whole statement's true, it's not documented, and I like to think it is, but it sounds accurate, because he probably would have known. I mean, he was working with those people to, you know, in the rocket program, he would have known. Those players involved, he probably saw the writing on the wall and knew what they were going to do with his stuff. Not, you know, I don't know if the guy was no saint, obviously. I mean, like you mentioned, he was in the Nazi party and was responsible for the creation of the V rocket.
But he lived there and he was an intelligent man. So was that his fault that his leaders were?
No. I don't blame him for. I don't blame him for that. You know, I don't. Politicians take control of troops and technology and do what they want with them. You know, like you don't blame him any more than you would a foot soldier who's out following orders. You know, like they're just kind of doing what they need to do to get by. But you know, it does stink. But the ends justify the means. I don't know. You know, I mean, like we look at where those rockets were used. They were not just used here for space exploration, but they went into our ICBMs and then were, you know, used for weapons as well. So how can we look down on him for creating a V2 rocket for Nazi Germany when they made the intercontinental, you know, the ICBMs for us? You know, it's the same damn thing. But yeah, we wouldn't be where we were today if it wasn't for him. I mean, I can say that, you know, like the guy made some huge changes and some huge contributions for space and for the world. Everybody uses that technology now, whether they want to admit it or not, you know, but if you're going to space, you're going to be using something that he helped create at some point. So
we're still using something from 19. What was it? 90. When was the first Saturn done?
The Saturn. I'm not sure about the exact date. The 60s, wasn't it? Or maybe it was the 50s.
60s, in the late 50s.
Well, I know. Sorry, I know the technology was actually before that, but the technology that took us to the moon, you know, that's what Elon's going to use. That same technology he's going to use to get what's it called, Starship, with the who's going on it now. He said, you know what, anybody can buy into this. One guy bought into it, a man, I think he's either from Japan or China, I'm not too sure on that one, who is a designer, and he's bought every single seat on that. If I was Elon Musk, I would have said that's not allowed. I want multiple people to go on, because there's a massive, whether we want to admit it or not, there's a massive distrust on this earth when it comes to do with anything to do with space. And I don't think any of you guys on this chat right now can say that you hand on heart trust any of these massive space industries. Did anybody see that orb that flew past?
I saw it.
Yeah, that was the speedy little fucker.
He flew by mine about 5 minutes ago, man. He's just going all the way around the world.
But what I'm saying is Elon's going to take Starship. It's called Starship, right? But it's Starship, isn't it? That's what he's calling it.
Yeah, the Starship.
He's going to orbit the moon with this guy who's bought every single ticket. One guy who's bought every single ticket.
I hope
that's the free market. I mean,
I'm just putting that out there. I just think it's a little bit. I have my suspicions. I really do.
I have my suspicions when you look at some of the ISS footage.
Be careful, Lee. What we say. We can have suspicions. And we can speak in code. But we can't.
I think the ISS is all right, isn't it? That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But
the video's titled about underwater anyway, so it's okay. We can talk about it.
We're pretty far away from the water now, right? To be honest,
I'll be back in just 1 minute.
But like, yeah, there's stuff where it seems like obviously green screened, and there's one where there's a guy going through a doorway, and you can see where like the mask isn't put in the right place, and he fades away before he goes through the hole into the next part of this ISS. And you just like, how can you not question things when that happens?
So you know what image artifacts are when you're looking at digital video, when you're looking at.
It's not an artifact, mate. Definitely.
It is weird. I've seen it, and I've seen the way it breaks up. And if it breaks up in that exact place where he goes through that doorway where it's faded out, it's odd.
Yeah,
it's odd. But I'll be honest with you, Lee. I really can't speak about this on this channel.
No,
because it's great because it's live on YouTube, and YouTube, you know, they will strike me down with great vengeance and furious anger if I say anything bad about what is or isn't going on up there or down there. But
there are, if there wasn't any people on this planet that at any given time have actually taken picture with telescopes from the Earth, then you could say there's nothing up there. But because so many private people with cameras and lenses that have managed to take clear pictures of the ISS. You can see it's the ISS, and you know these three guys on Facebook who posted it that day was visible. That part don't even know each other. So the ISS is up there. When you speak about green screen and disappearing in the mask, I am kind of thinking back to Apollo 11 and Stanley Kubrick. The debate is still going on. I believe 100% they landed on the moon, 100%, but I don't believe that was what we saw. That was something pre-recorded because they couldn't show live from up there, so they was already pre-recorded. Here we go, America, we are fantastic, we are on the moon, and you didn't see that over there or that over there anyway, so everything is good. So when you say things like green screen, I do sometimes think that they actually are hiding stuff or maybe equipment they don't want us to see. I can't sit and say this or that or that's how it is or give any statements, but I know that the whole thing about not exploiting, giving too much up in one go, and therefore you have the same on Mars. You see pictures there where it's clearly blurred out. I have tons of them, and you can see there is fake sand that's covering over stuff. I think no matter where we are, if we are on Curiosity rover or if we are on ISS or even Station Mir when it was active, no matter where we are, I think there is a program for whatever side you want to support. You know what I mean?
So Thomas, I've seen that on your channel. I've seen that. I've seen you do a video where you're showing footage on Mars that it's taken, but you can blatantly see a Photoshop on the Mars landscape.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah.
I've seen that on your channel. I've seen that on your channel. I've seen that on Will's channel, where you've pointed it out and you've shown that. And as somebody, I do now. I like to use Photoshop a lot, and I can kind of see how it's being done.
Yeah, I'll have After I started all this in 2009-10.
So you think they're covering up stuff on Mars?
I can say exactly the same. I understand how easy it is to do. I've never faked anything. I've never changed anything to make something look like it's not, or it's something it isn't. But I know how easy it would be to do. And I don't think it's any more different for a professional space agency like NASA to do whatever they want to do.
They talked about that in the 2001 Disclosure Project. I think it was actually Carol Rosen who talked about it while she was at NASA, that there was she had visited a room and there was a guy in there whose job it was to smudge stuff out of photographs for NASA. And this was
that was Donna Hara, and the guy in there was Ken Johnston. Ken Johnston is my good friend. I've talked to Donna Hara about the exactly what you're talking about. We have an interview.
Didn't Dolly interview her?
Have you interviewed Donna Hare?
I think so, yeah.
I don't think you have.
Have I?
I remember hearing something. I think it was when me and Dolly were speaking in the interview that I did with Dolly about her. But yeah, so they was covering. Sorry, Manny, you were saying about the covering up.
She was Donna Hare, was the woman that was working with it.
Yeah, Donna Hare. Yeah, that's just it. She was
Carol Sue Rosen worked with Johnny Mack. He was for the alien abduction doctor. He removed the implants.
Wow.
Yeah, and Carol Rosen was his assistant.
So along those lines too, some of the photoshopping that you might see is from stitching of two different images together. I've noticed that on a couple of images where they'll take multiple camera images, like on the I forget what it's called. The long arm. It's the arm on Perseverance that's got the camera on the end. So. Yeah, I caught an image like that too, where I had this strange line on the ground, and I was like, "What the heck is that?" It looks like something's pushing up out of the dirt, like a piece of metal or something. But it wasn't. It was just a shadow of like the line of the two images where they put them together to overlay the two to make one composite image. And sometimes you will see those in these because they do like Perseverance uses a multitude of cameras to stitch together imagery. It depends on what type of photos it's taken. Yeah. But it's good that you're catching all that and cataloging it, because some people will catch that and they'll be like, "Oh my God, look, it is." You know, it's like it's CGI, and sometimes it is, but it's like we're talking about. They're stitching together two images to make a full composite. You know, just like the same way Google Earth makes a round sphere of the Earth. You know, like it's the same kind of thing.
It's the same, yeah. It is, yeah.
I think with this, when we're talking about NASA and the imagery they show in space. When we actually look at the imagery in our own ocean, the only good imagery you see in our own ocean is on like documentaries. You don't see a lot from the general public that's just showing stuff, weird anomalies that's going on underneath the sea. And I think the main reason is because of the pressure. You can't get down there. You know, I can remember being on holiday, just going under the water, and I could feel my head as it got so far down, it felt like my ears were going to explode. So you know, it's the general public is not, in terms of cameras and stuff. We're only just beginning there. I mean, you spoke about these little submarines that we were talking about with the Baltic Sea anomaly, to get something to go down there. But I think in terms of the sea and just researching what we've got down there, in terms of the public, it's very new. In terms of scientists or NASA or whoever's doing it, you know, maybe there's a lot of footage that we haven't seen of stuff that they say that we haven't looked into the oceans. We've looked into space more than we know more about space than we do our own oceans. I'm calling bullshit on that.
Yeah.
I'm saying that they will have, if they think that there is something down there, if going back to what Lee was saying earlier about civilizations that maybe are down there, or what if it's aliens that are down there?
Yeah.
If NASA does think, or if whatever company is in control of any of this, if there's one company that, one, whatever you want to call them, that have the power to get to the moon, that have the power to put things into space, if they know that there are extraterrestrials, I guarantee they have searched more of the ocean than what they're telling us.
Yeah,
because they will have gone looking, because that is the best place that these little green bastards could hide.
Well, imagine though. Do you think our militaries probably already have? I mean, with their nuclear
that sounds
submarines,
racist. That green
like
bastards, doesn't it? I just realised the grey, not green. Sorry, guys.
Cosmic citizenship, fellas.
And speaking of submarine and nuclear, what happened to Kursk back in the 90s, and why is there still debating? However, it was an explosion that was caught from the inside or the outside, and why was it all covered up? So is there more to our oceans? And a nuclear submarine like Kursk had a mission that probably wasn't a friendly mission or used to unfriendly purposes. Was somebody just telling us that we are way ahead of you, humans? Please calm down, or was it an accident?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Did that sub go down? Is that what you're talking about? Was it a Russian sub that went down? There was a
Russian nuclear submarine that exploded basically, and was gone for a few days before they found it, as for what I know. And they tried to they actually brought it in with a giant ship and crane and sawed it over in two. Why did they have to saw it in two before they took it up? They had the ship and equipment to take the whole submarine up in two go. But according to them, they were afraid it would break in two, so they had to cut it off. I don't think they had to cut it off. I think they did it because they need to secure their nuclear supply on board, and they probably had divers and ROV in the water to do that also as well. Plus, I think that they wanted to see what was going on before the world saw it, so that was why we didn't heard about it for days and days and days. And when we finally saw the first picture, it was all covered up in tarpaulins all over. So I would say a modern ship like it was back in the 90s should not be able to explode from the inside. It was something from the outside that hit it, and with that technology it was carrying on board, there should be a defensive system that would tell them that something was about to hit them, and worst case scenario actually activate itself to protect itself from whatever would create a damage so big that the submarine could be lost. So something is not right with Kursk either.
Yeah. Those things shouldn't just crash, like you say. They have extreme countermeasures and electronics to built in to make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah.
They would know minutes before something was hitting them that it was on its way.
I said it was Megalodon.
Huh?
Organic. If it was organic, like a sea creature, the Meg.
Well,
or something alien, if it was something that its sensors couldn't track or detect or deal with, I mean, we see the UFOs flying all over that they don't necessarily show that they can track and target those things. They can film them, but like in the Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, the border pilot has to get ahead of the thing at one point because he can't get an auto fix on it when he's trying to track it. He has to lead it, so like maybe, I don't know, seeing something and tracking it aren't the same thing.
So we were speaking about that, the Puerto Rico footage earlier, and I have to agree with what a lot of the bigger channels have said. Third Phase and the Secure Team 10s, they have said that is some of the most compelling footage, and I would agree with them with that one, because that thing it kind of dips in and out of the sea. And I mean, if that is something, our technology, now, stop me if I'm wrong here, but I don't know anything that we've got that can do that can just dip in and dip out. I did see like a patent for this thing that looks a bit like a bird that can kind of go into the sea and come out of the sea, this new technology. But this thing's, it's a ball. It's an orb of some kind.
And it's moving at a good speed too. And it produced a radar signature on the ground-based radar stations there in Puerto Rico as well. So it had a cross section. It's not exactly, we're not talking.
Did you have a video of that lined up?
Yeah, I did a. Let me see if I can share it without. I think my internet connection seems pretty stable here now, so we'll try this.
Guys, I got about 5-10 minutes left, and I gotta go again.
That's fine, mate. Yeah, you get off, Thomas. The show's about to end anyway. We normally end it about this time, but I'll
it's nice to meet you, Thomas, man. It's good to talk to you.
Nice to meet you too, guys.
So yeah, this is the one. This is the one that I absolutely love. This one.
Yeah, this is Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, 2013. A Customs and Border patrol plane captured this footage on FLIR. I forget exactly what system it had, but it tracked the object coming up out of the water initially. And the object flies around the Rafael Hernandez Airport and actually buzzes right over the runway where there was a, I think it was a UPS plane that was on the tarmac getting ready to take off. And they had to delay his departure by 15 or 20 minutes because of this thing. There is the SCU did a report on it, about a 200-page report on it, which is damned amazing. They break it down and show that there was no video tampering. It's an authentic video, all that sort of thing. They estimated the speed at, I think it was 30 or 40 miles an hour, and this thing was flying over the city at about 200 feet.
I remember that footage.
Yeah, and at the end, it'll go down into the water and slow down, and then it shows like it almost breaks into two objects at once, and then it's really strange. We'll see that at the end of this. Here's where that's the runway right there that it just crossed over. Yeah. But the fact that it pinged on the radar and stuff is just amazing. Look how low it is too. It's like flying around those houses and all that.
It looks like it's flying in between the houses.
I believe it did actually. In a couple of the frames, you can see where it looks like it goes in between the house and the power line, and then the house and the trees. So it looks like it was at a low altitude.
Mick West told me it was a bird.
Oh yeah, it wasn't a Chinese paper lantern or whatever. There is a hotel a couple of miles up the beach where they do release paper lanterns, and I think a lot of people had said it was that, but again, I don't know how a paper lantern would move horizontally and even then go down and up. Like those things generally, yeah, they follow the wind.
Yeah.
Here's where it's dipping into the water, though. You see that?
You even see the splash there, don't you? There's even like a splash of water when it went down.
Yeah, I don't know if there is or not. It's hard to tell. Yeah,
splash, but it's hard to tell. That's the kind of footage. Normally, if I was looking at it, I would put it into my little editor and slow it down, and I would probably just
there was something there.
Get a little bit more of it.
Yeah, that's where it splits. I did slow it down in my review. I did a couple of different little slowdowns on it, but it's still only, I think, 25 FPS footage base to work with. That's all you got. So, yeah. Or it might be 29. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at this one. But you see the thing circled all the way around and came back to almost where it started. That's the weird thing.
Did you have another one for us, Manny?
Did I what?
Did you say you had another one for us? Another clip? You brought a few clips.
Oh yeah. Earlier. This is another USO that I had featured a couple of, I don't know, maybe last month in one of my UFO videos.
Okay, so this one that you're about to play, if it's the one I'm thinking of, I know what this is.
The close-ups, yeah, that's how you record.
I know what that is. This is sneaky. This man is sneaky.
I'm glad Thomas is here though, because he can tell us. Because I thought it was a dive light. I thought it was a high lumen diving flashlight.
It is diving lights. It is. But what's happened here is I got fooled with something that was put out from Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which I don't think Stephen Greer actually realized what he had in the show. But Osvaldo Franco showed me a clip of one of the UFOs that he has that goes to a triangle. And then I got a separate clip afterwards sent to me from Osvaldo Franco, and it shows it in full. And then you can see as the image, as the video goes on, it's skydivers. It's somewhere you can find it. I saw this this is recent, isn't it? Quite recent.
Yeah. Maybe 6 or 8 weeks, I think.
They cut this and they cut it exactly there, and they did it for a reason, because then you start to hear people speaking about the divers, and they had that is diving light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really what I thought it was too.
100% that is diving light, because there's a longer version to this video that was cut.
He even
said
it's
interesting. It's interesting that this happens, and this is the problem.
Yeah,
this is the problem, because that same thing. If I saw that just like that, yeah, I'm with you all the way. That is weird, but that is diving. That is divers.
Yeah, I told a story in the UFO video where I said, when I was a kid, one of the neighborhood guys was a scuba diver, and he would come out on the 4th of July with his dive flashlight and shoot the lights that were on the telephone poles to turn the lights off so we could blow off fireworks in the dark. And that's how bright those underwater spotlights are for diving. They're super bright. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I showed a video where another guy was diving with one of them just to illustrate how it looks green because of the salt water and all that, and the ocean water and whatnot. But that's kind of what I thought that one was.
I sent Ollie a video just before to play.
Yes, I'm just bringing it up, mate.
15,000 luminance, and that would create bigger light than what you saw in that video if you put it in a plastic bag and took it down.
Wow.
Right. Now imagine what that light would look like if we strapped it to a drone and flew it up over a city or something too. You know, wouldn't that look, I mean, or something similar to that, you know, it would be very easy to spoof something like that now. Oh, and we were talking earlier about drones that can land in the water. There is a new quadricopter drone that can actually land on the water, and it'll pivot the quadricopter blades down to act as propellers, and it can submerge, but it can't just fly right up and dive into the water and continue flying. It has to stop kind of like, you know, stop like and land on it like a helicopter basically, and then switch modes to go into a submersible mode. And they do have a drone that they're working on to do that right now, but that was not anywhere near production in 2013 when Agua Dia happened. And I don't think those little plastic drones ping a radar section on a radar, you know, on the ground-based radar stations. I don't think they're big enough, but they, you know, they might be.
Guys, I gotta go now.
No worries, Thomas.
No problem, buddy.
Dolly, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, it was great to be back, Oliver. Anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be looking for your Black Knight satellite documentary coming up. I'm excited to see that, man.
Yeah. Go into space.
Yeah, will you come back on once it's out and we can discuss?
Say that again. Sorry.
Will you guys come back on once your documentary's out and we can discuss?
At any given time, we will. Always.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's the way it is.
All right. Take care, Thomas.
Thank you, guys. It was really wonderful.
Cheers, buddy.
Have a great evening.
Good night. Yeah, this video, I found this ages ago. I watched it ages ago, and it's a National Geographic photographer. And it took me ages to find it again, and I just found it, so I hope it's the same video. And
I've just linked it in the description for whoever it is, just so they don't get mad at me for playing it. So go check the original channel out. They'll put it out, which is the channel is Miko TV. Go check him out. I've put the link in the description.
It's not his anyway because it was on National Geographic originally.
So he's a dirty stealer.
Yes. Coming from the guy that does reaction videos.
As long as I don't get check out the original people then. All right. So let's have a look at it. Let me turn the music down.
Oh, please play the guy talking.
Louis Lamar.
Wasn't
he a Western writer?
Is there a guy talking?
There should be a guy talking. If it does the interview.
Just a jingle.
Just pop her through and see what the right. That's from the mermaid thing. That's nonsense. Oh, is it not the one? There was an interview with the guy. No, it's not.
Lee,
is it?
Lee,
Fuck it.
You just sent me some random shite.
I did. At least you've helped hit up his channel.
Miko TV, Lee, is that your alt channel, like your sock puppet channel?
No, but it means I've got to keep looking. But there was a thing on National Geographic with that photographer, and he was talking about how difficult it was to photograph deep sea creatures and stuff like that. And then he just dropped in. He said, "Oh, and I also found like an advanced life forms down there." It was really weird. It just threw it out there, and
just
then
for
the
no
interview
reason.
finished. Yeah, it was really strange.
What does he mean though? You think he's talking about alien life, or is he talking about some kind of weird, crazy, tube worm that can hang out in sulfuric acid?
No. He was talking about like sort of what we would consider us, but underwater us.
Wow, I'd like to know where that is.
Like mermen.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, I need to look for it again. I thought I'd found it there. I didn't want to play it while I was listening to you guys as well. Wish I had now.
Do you remember when we all saw the, which was only a few years ago, the proper? I'm not talking about the medium giant squid. I'm talking about the giant squid. Remember when we saw the first footage of the actual real giant squid? How big that beast of a thing.
Well, that thing that looks like a fucking alien underwater.
Yeah,
it's weird, isn't it?
It's weird and it's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, life that's at the bottom of the ocean all looks strange, man. Everything looks weird down there. You know, I've seen shrimps that have like 12 eyes or you know, have no eyes even, you know, and different little, you know, like the, what's it called? The mantis shrimp that can throw a punch that actually captivates and boils the water around his punch. It's amazing. Yeah, it's crazy, you know. Tube worms, like I said, that live in hydrofluoric acid vents, you know, with no sunlight, but they can still exist. You know, that's on our Earth. What are we going to find when you get to another planet, man?
Well, look at the octopus. I mean, I used to eat them beautiful little bastards all the time when I went on holiday to Spain. I thought it was amazing. You know, I love octopus. It tastes amazing. I won't eat them now. I will not eat an octopus. And I'll tell you the exact reason why I won't eat it. Have you ever seen that video on YouTube of that man that picks up that little octopus that's been washed up? He puts it into the water. That little guy comes back and it gives his leg a little hug.
Oh, yeah.
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 It blatantly does. But then it's not just for that. After seeing that, I thought, right, I need to research octopuses. And I did see, I think it was Tyler from Secure Team put out there a video about octopuses being the closest thing to an alien that we actually have on this planet. And that was an interesting video that he did about that. But the octopus itself is extremely intelligent. Extremely. These things can problem solve.
But tasty as fuck.
Yes, they are. With a bit of lemon and pepper.
Tempura fried. I don't know, man.
I won't eat them anymore. Honestly, I will not eat them.
Yeah.
And I find them delicious as well.
Yeah. Same as squid.
And saying that pigs are smart.
Yeah.
And I love a bit of bacon and a sausage.
Oh, imagine how nice humans taste then.
Well, apparently it tastes like pork.
Well, we've just said,
we taste like a hybrid of chicken and pork, I've heard.
The only link we've got now is there's a link between intelligence and being fucking tasty.
So the smarter you are, the better you taste?
Must be.
Is that it?
That's what the reptilians think, anyway.
Oh,
I'm off to get myself some fucking dolphin.
We're all screwed.
Maybe David Icke's right about them. They're eating us.
Yeah, maybe it is like that Jupiter ascending and they're just waiting to harvest the crop, you know, like who knows?
Well, boys, we have been going for 2.5 hours.
It's late.
And I need
you guys have. I got here a half an hour late with all my technical difficulties, you know. I'm still fresh as a daisy.
There you go.
No.
But, it's been emotional. Manny, what are you putting out next for the people? And where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube. Twitter, Real Area 503. YouTube, just at Area 503. And I will am working on my Alien Dance Party stuff, which is alien dance music and dance videos to just hang out and listen to while you're cleaning the house, or come out and listen to the premiere and the live show and just do a chill and chat while we listen to some dance music. So that's kind of fun. And it's all original music that I've been working on. Creating myself, which is a lot of fun. I've been doing that for a couple months now, and I just have a really good time making music. It's so much fun. For somebody who's never actually picked up an instrument before, that might seem a little contradictory, but I guess you have to see it and listen to it to see what I'm talking about. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing now. And yeah, I think that's about it. All my other science and tech stuff on the YouTube channel, where I do my regular UFO sightings and things like that, but I'm trying to throw in some more creative things into the mix too. So that's where I'm at.
Fantastic, mate. Go check out Manny. He is in the description, Area 503. And Lee, go check out my friend Lee and go badger him. Go badger this bearded warrior, ginger bearded warrior next to me. Go badger him and tell him to do more videos about UFOs and ufology, and get him to watch them live with Susie, because she hates this shit.
She does. Yeah, she's much happier to watch music videos. But yeah, the more stuff. Obviously, I do music reaction videos most of the time.
I'm liking the reaction videos, mate.
I am as well. I'm not enjoying like uploading a load of videos, then having to wait 5 days for the copyright claims to fucking sort themselves out.
Is that what you have to do?
Yeah. So, and then I uploaded 3. I've been waiting for them to for the copyright thing to claim so I can start popping them up. And then they were cleared today. I clicked the video to watch it, and somewhere between me uploading it and it going to the YouTube, the file shit the bed. So I've got to start the process again.
No, and then you got to go through all that and waiting. Yeah, file a dispute with Content ID and all that. Yeah. It's a pain in the butt. I was saying earlier how I had got one for doing a live stream from NASA, a Content ID strike, and it was from like a newspaper in Argentina or something. And I'm like,
yeah, they're just fishing. They are literally all they're doing is they're setting up bots accounts on YouTube, and they're the scum of the earth. This is why.
Grim.
This is the problem with today and the internet.
Scum of the earth. Yeah, they are, man. Well, it's the music industry,
sponges.
Man. Intellectual property, all that stuff. It gets into money real quick,
I put I put a t-shirt design up. Funny enough, my t-shirt designs, and the alien one that I drew myself. This is not a hint to go buy yourself some merch, but the alien one, they was like, have you drawn that? Well, yes, I bloody well have. But we're not talking about the actual xenomorph. We're talking about my logo. They tried to strike me. Not strike me. They tried to take my designs down of the middle one of my actual logo because they said that I had not done it.
Well,
and I'm like, they had no problem with the xenomorph.
That's weird. That's really weird. Maybe you accidentally hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I wonder if you got caught in an automatic algorithm or something. Yeah, you never know.
Odd. I am going to do more designs, by the way, not just 3. I've got some plans for some very sexy ones. But boys, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
I may be doing a show on Tuesday night with a very special guest that I can't speak about right now to anybody.
Is it Voldemort?
It could be. It could be Voldemort, but it also could be what's his name? The other one, the one that looks like a heroin addict.
Oh,
Smeagol,
Scottish person.
What's his name? Oh no, I'm thinking the wrong program. I'm thinking of Lord of the Rings. Who's the one that looks like a heroin addict?
Gollum.
Lord of the Rings? Gollum, that's it.
Gollum. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, I've got an interview with Gollum.
That's not a pleasant look. You should never be referring to someone as Gollum. Like that's poor bastard.
I may have an interview with the wizard.
All right.
That's all I'm going to say.
Gandalf the White or Gandalf the Grey?
Yeah. A massive interview. Massive. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, boys. It has been emotional. It's been fantastic. It has been odd because we've not really spoke that much about the sea. Well, we have. We spoke about the Baltic Sea anomaly, which I think we've established that it's not a UFO. It's not an alien ship, but it could be something pretty old.
I still think it could be an alien ship. It could be covered in something. It could be a ship that's covered, in basalt or something like that. You never know. I mean, but we won't know until we get enough money to get Thomas down there to look.
Yeah. There's a thing like when you not to fucking launch the show again, but when you look at things like
Lee always tries to do this. You never
like
can say goodbye.
No, but like megalithic structures and stuff like that. The reason they did it with rock is because whatever they were doing, that was easy for them because we build the easiest possible way we can.
Yeah,
it lasts forever.
Yeah.
What is Earth made out of? It's a massive rock.
Rock. Molten rock. More rock. Dirt. Yeah. Mostly rock. In some form. Yeah.
Flat rock.
A slate-like rock.
I don't know about that.
Thanks for that, Lee. Thanks for that. Attract a new crowd.
Hey, I shared that promo for the dance video. If you want to do that on the way out, you can play it. It's got a few minutes of and a little story. And Lee, if you ever want to do reaction videos to my music, I won't copyright strike you, dude. You can go ahead and do that stuff, and you can.
Oh, cool.
You can play me and tell me how horrible I am and how much I need to improve.
So you don't want to ask Lee to do a reaction video to your music videos. It could be amazing, Manny, but I've watched him. He'll pick up on something.
Well, if you want to, I won't
that'll be Susie.
It would be Susie, definitely.
Takes a lot to impress that woman.
It does.
Right, let's play this, and then I'll come back to you fellas in a moment. But good night, God bless people. Mind the books don't bite. I'm Alien Addict. Check out the links for the guests in the description, and I will be doing a show at some point next week. I know it's not regular, but I'm not a regular guy. Quite unique. Good night, God bless. Mind the bugs don't bite. Have a great evening, people.
2010, a CGI dancing alien by the name of Howard.
Which one's the alien?
Internet by storm. Howard was quick to rise to the top of the CGI dancing alien circuit. An overnight sensation, Howard was showing up everywhere. At the height of his internet fame, Howard found himself on The judges were amazed by Howard's talent. And so was the audience. Howard was on top of it all. He even landed a few acting jobs in a couple of small budget films. Such as Jurassic Park. And War of the Worlds. How could it get any better? Howard was truly on top of the world. But even on top of the world, Howard felt a change in how people were looking at him. And he knew it was soon to be over when his agent booked him a job on the most popular creative piece in daytime television.
Oh my gosh! Why was Mr. Krabs making all those beeping sounds? Could it be that he's a robot?
Howard knew his 15 minutes of fame was over. And so Howard tried branching out to a foreign market. It did not go over well. Howard was not discouraged, however, so he tried many things. Howard even tried online dancing for tips. It also did not go over well. This was truly rock bottom for Howard, and so Howard slid into a downward spiral binge of ice cream, pizza, and disco to cope. The final straw for Howard was when he was arrested for a home invasion, he was heard saying to the police as they led him away in handcuffs, "I just need money for one more slice of pizza." So where is he now? We caught up to Howard 11 years later in Portland, Oregon, and we did what anyone would do when they see a former celebrity down on their luck. We capitalized on his misfortune for our own benefit and offered him a job hosting the Alien Dance Party. But this isn't just the same old Howard. We've taught him a few new tricks. And we even got Howard some backup dancers. Featuring all original music by Manny at Area 503.